Hello, everybody. I am Mel Barrett, and this is Something's Off, a true crime podcast where we ask ourselves, what the frickety frack is happening with this case? And the case that we're covering this week is the Kouri Richins case. Now, I'm on my own today. Rebecca is not with me. I have really high hair, and I have a new background. Let me know what you think of it. This is going to be, I'm going to try to take my time with this because we have to cover 5 days of the trial. And there might be some people in the audience who have no idea what I'm talking about and who Kouri Richins is. Let me make sure that my mic is okay. It sounds a little bit weird to me. Nope, everything's okay. Okay, maybe I'll turn down the volume a little bit. Pump up the volume, pump up the volume. Okay, everybody hear me okay? Hey, Luna. Hey, Trace. Hey, Jennifer. Hey, Robert. Hey, Ivy. Thanks for becoming a new member. We love that. Debbie, Gabby. Hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. Are you in a shower? No, I'm not in a shower. These are sound panels because my sound has been sounding weird to me. So I built something in my workshop because I'm a lesbian. And you're going to have to forgive me because I'm going to have to check in on my phone every once in a while because my partner Lindsay is flying today. And of course, I'm terrified about, terrorism and Iran and everything that's happening in the world. We're not going to get into politics. Don't yell at me. But, I want to check and make sure she gets on her flight okay and that everything's okay. The womb of silence. Is that what I should call it? I don't have anything decorative on it yet. What is that? Oh, that's from the outside light. That's interesting. A little bit of housekeeping right off the top. Thank you. That's the biggest thing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being members. Thank you for helping us grow this channel. We are well over 4,000 subscribers in just under a few months since we started the channel. And we love you for that. And we're so glad that you're here. We love these conversations that we've been having. We also have big conversations happening over in our Facebook group, which is the Something's Off with Mel Barrett and Rebecca Lavoie Facebook group. I know, Sunday live feed, Chris, because I am going to be doing an entire recap of week 1 of the Kouri Richins trial. So I wanted to get that done today because tomorrow and going forward for the next 4 weeks, I am going to be recapping the Kouri Richins trial every day. And sometimes Rebecca will join me. Sometimes she won't be able to, but I'm hoping to do this every single day for the next 4 weeks, the same way that we covered the Karen Reed trial on the readathon, but with Kouri. It's a really interesting trial. I'm excited to get into it. And I will in just a moment. I just want to get some housekeeping stuff out of the way. I hope that you all have been receiving your stickers. Rebecca has been super diligent about trying to get that stuff out. She was sick for like a week and a half. So, thanks for being patient about the stickers. One of the other things that I am going to try desperately to do, because I have been seeing in our lives that if I try to open a tab on my live browser, I freeze. So you're going to have to bear with me. I may get frozen a couple of times because I accidentally click on the wrong button. But right now I have a couple of different tabs open. One of the tabs I wanted to show you, which I'm really excited about, is we have merch, finally. Let me see if I can pull it up. Hold on. And where did it go? Okay. So we're still adding to the store, but we started off with a few items. If you want anything, there's the I'll Allow It, the I Heart Straight Bears, the You're Hot. This is the back of the You're Hot sweatshirt. I don't know why these don't preview very well, but this is the Bev, the Ani Bev wine chugger. I'll allow it. And I actually just made a custom, not really custom, but I created this camp mug here. And I did it because Amanda wanted me to. Let me see if I can find it. It should be on this main page. Hold on. I just made it. Where did it go? Oh, there it is. This is the camp mug that Amanda asked me to make. It's the Ani Bev's I'll Allow It camp mug. I'll allow it. I like it. We got some hats. We got a little trucker hat. We got a notebook. We got some dance socks. These are so ridiculous. And if you wear them, I'm going to need pictures, of course. We got some crop tops for the youngins out there because I'm definitely not wearing a crop top. Rebecca might. not me. Um, were you able to see all of that, or was I frozen? Oh, let's see. Let me look at some of these chats. I've been stressed since yesterday. My parents are in Egypt. They're flying home early and we're supposed to go to Jordan. Ugh. I'm so sorry. Yeah, it's not good what's happening over there, and not many people are in support of it, so it's kind of extra fucked up that it's happening, and I'm really sorry. My partner Lindsay was in Israel, I think last month, or yeah, maybe it was last month. It was either January or February, and I was worried about her the whole time she was there. Um, she came back safe and sound, but and she's not scared of that kind of stuff. It's me, I'm the more paranoid one. But, yeah, I'm worried about all my people across the world and in this country right now, so, Allie, "Hi, Melon. Hi, everyone. Had to make sure I remembered to catch this live while the baby naps. Love it. I'll try to be" well, the problem is I hope you don't have me on regular speaker because I have a tendency to be loud, so I hope I don't wake up your baby. Um, the socks I think the socks are funny. Oh, thanks for the tip, Robert. You're the best. Yeah, I love the socks. I don't know if I could wear them because 'cause I'm short, and so wearing, like, crew socks is makes me look like I have little tree trunks for legs, and I don't. I have dainty little ankles, but when I wear socks like that, it makes me look like, you know, big old cankles. Her attorneys are insufferable. That is an interesting I can't wait to talk about it. I can see where you're coming from. This is a much needed recap. Her attorneys are insufferable. I'm assuming you're talking about Kouri's attorneys. I don't find them insufferable. I don't know if it I know that they can be a little obnoxious, sure. I think that's their job though. So it doesn't bother me so much. I want everyone to have a fair trial and I want them to be defended by the best people possible. So it doesn't bother me too much, but I can see it. I mean, I especially I hear it from some of the men folk that they are really annoyed with these women. And I don't know if it's like sexism or if they're just like, I don't know, but I'm looking forward to your opinion on it. Gabby says, "Can you let Ellen know that I got to know her from this channel and then I'm now a huge fan listening to her podcast and following her on Instagram." Um, Ellen I used to be a fan of Ellen's. That's how Ellen and I became friends, and now here we are. And I will definitely let her know because she is one of my dearest friends, and she is an amazing human being. She's also supremely talented, Broadway actress, multi-podcast. She's blowing up, the podcast scene. She and Joey have a very, very, very successful podcast. They do live shows, so they take their Broadway expertise and they bring them to their live shows for I Think Not. She's also one of the hardest working women I've ever met in my life, and she works really hard to tell people's stories, which I appreciate. So I am so glad to hear that you are a fan of Ellen, and I will definitely let her know. Although she likes to listen to this show, and she likes to remind me that she listens to it whenever I'm like, "Hey, I talked about this on the show the other day," and she's like, "I listened to your show, Mel." So hopefully she'll hear this. Gabby says she loves ya. So this week in Kouri has been nuts. I never know how if I should pronounce her name Kouri or Corey. And for me, I feel like it should almost have an H in there, maybe just add another letter to make it, more understandable. I'm curious what you think is off in this case. It seems pretty straightforward. I think there's a lot off in this case, and I'm really excited to talk about. Some of the stuff that's off came out in the trial this week. And I think that what I'll establish is that when I say I think something's off, I'm talking specifically about the case, not about whether she did it or not. I'll say that, and we'll get into it. Um, I wear my emotional support AirPods for what feels like most of the day, so no worries about waking the babe. Me too. Can please continue being loud. I have to vacuum and I have my headphones cracked. I will try to be loud. I mean, I won't try. I just am. My whole family's loud. When we get into a room, when we all tell stories, we're just like yelling at each other. The defense is interesting, Tammy. I agree. Those darn women, those loud, obnoxious women. Yeah, that happens so often. I mean, part of the reason I think that Hillary Clinton and Kamala Harris didn't get elected president is because people didn't like the way they laughed or their voices, which is So sexist. Oh my god, living free 603. What? 49.99. That is amazing. Thank you so much for the super chat. That's insane. I love it. Insane in a good way, not in a bad way. Don't take offense. So amazing. Thank you all so much. It's so beautiful and it makes me feel so good. I know I've said this before whenever I get like my text, notifications that someone left us a tip or, somebody left us a super chat. It just makes me you don't know what it does to a creator in the moment when they receive something like that because it's like, okay, we're doing all this work. We love what we do, but we still have to put food on the table and pay the light bill. So the fact that you guys in real time are telling us that you appreciate it and that you're willing to like help support it means the world to me. Um no, I know, Romodo. I know it's not just because they're women. I understand. It made me think your comment made me think of some of the commentary I've heard from men this week. So I wanted to it was on my brain, so I wanted to say it. Agreed. Yeah, here we go. I think it's so interesting. Everyone's gonna have really I would love to know what it is. You know what I mean? And agreed, can't stand them. I love strong women, but they are whiny and unnecessarily rude. I hear what you're saying. I wonder though if because they remind me a little bit of Alan Jackson. Um, and I don't feel like people thought that he was whiny. I know that people thought he was rude. I think it's their job. You know what I mean? That's what I'll say. We'll get into it though. I think they did a good job on some things this week though, that we have a lot to talk about with that. Um Okay, so I actually this is funny. Thank you for Living Free 603 just gave us basically a $50 super chat and said, "Hey everyone, let's get Mel her second monitor." I actually found one of our little I don't know what they're called. I use Macs but Lindsay uses PCs and we had a like one of the kids like gaming laptops. It's like PC laying around the house. So I tried desperately to mirror my screen and to do like duet and try to expand my screen and it worked for about 5 minutes and then the PC just shut down. It was like, "Nope, can't handle it." So I got to figure out. I have an old Mac laptop that I'll try to hook up and see if that works. Um Apparently a lot of flights have been diverted to Cairo. Agree, Ellen is hilarious. Yes, she is and I am worried about the UAE is even getting attacked. One of the main oil pipelines was blown up last night, so it's kind of crazy. If you don't know what we're talking about the new war in Iran. So, um, let's see. The prosecution isn't proving its case effectively. I'm going to go ahead and agree with that. Oh, sweetie, no. I agree with that. But it's only the first week, so we're gonna have to let it breathe a little bit, I think. And I think everyone's just sort of working out the kinks, including the judge. There were some really interesting things that happened this week. But let me finish up with this housekeeping. So we got the merch out, the stickers are out, memberships are awesome. You guys have been subscribing. While you're here right now, if you think about it, please go and like the video. It really, really, really helps with the algorithm. And tell me if you hate my background. I love it. I think it's like nice and bright. I'm gonna put some things on the walls too, but I just don't have any logos yet. I'll see what I can make on the merch store, come up with something. Um, oh, Gabby, I'm going through bad times and both you and Ellen inspire me to continue walking on this earth. Whoa, that's huge. It's really funny because about an hour and a half ago, Ellen and I actually were on the phone talking about this very thing where there are a lot of people out there who I think have sort of given up that anybody is going to not oh my gosh, Lindsay, thank you so much for the Cash App tip. I appreciate that. There are some people out there who are so overwhelmed by what's happening in the world right now that they feel sort of despondent, despair because they think that nothing is going to change, no one's going to be held accountable. This is all for nothing. And so instead of fighting for it, fighting for our rights and fighting for our elections and fighting for people who have less than we do, they just go, "Meh, oh, well, I guess I'm just gonna go live my life because there's nothing I can do." And that saddens me so much, and also I don't have that in my DNA. So there Ellen and I are a lot alike in that way, a lot alike in that way because we could both go out and try to find the truth, and we both go out and try to tell the stories of people that we think aren't necessarily heard. Kouri is not a good example of that. On my in between podcast, I tend to cover stories of women mostly, but some men who haven't gotten a fair shake and who I don't think got fair trials. And so I try to cover that kind of stuff. Ellen does the same thing on her show, The Rundown, which is a show that is under the ITN, the I Think Not banner. And, she's been covering the Epstein files. I've been covering the Epstein files on my new show, Newslight with Mel Barrett, which happens on Wednesday nights at 7 p.m. We've got a new one coming up about the Epstein files and how that coincides with this new war in Iran. But I think that, Gabby, what you're saying is probably speaks to a lot of people, because I think a lot of people are terrified and they don't feel like they have power and they don't feel like they have a voice. And so I went through that too, where, for the past year, I'm like, what the hell? I'm so used to being political and an activist and marching and doing all the things that we've been doing in my life since the 80s and 90s. But now it feels like we can't fight this. But I guarantee you that we can fight this. And the way that we fight this is we keep talking about these cases, about the stories. We keep shining a light on the atrocities that are happening in this country and around the world, and we make our voices heard. The only way that I know how to help right now is to tell stories. So that's what I'm going to keep doing. That's why I started the Newslight channel. And, you know, that's all I can do right now. But that little bit, I think it does help. It obviously is helping you. Ellen's voice and my voice are hopefully helping you. And you can do the same for other people. Keep talking, keep trying to shed light on the truth, and we will get out of this. We will work our way out of this. Let's see. Get a second monitor, my friend. I know. I'm going to. I might just do that today, actually. Okay, let's see. I don't like that about AJ too. Yeah, I think a lot of people really don't like how Alan Jackson handles witnesses. To me, I think it's their job. You have to when you have to impeach somebody, I think you have to make them uncomfortable. And if it makes us uncomfortable, imagine what it's doing to the witness. They don't need to be derogatory. You know, I think the way that he handled Jen McCabe was a perfect example of him coming off sort of like an asshole, but getting what he needed out of that witness. So I don't know. Prosecution's opening statements with Kouri's text messages and memes blew my mind. Yeah. But I think that's also narrative. I think that there are I'll say this right off the top, and this is week 1. I don't know if she did it. I'm not there yet. I don't feel like I have seen enough evidence, and obviously we're only week 1. I haven't seen enough evidence to say that she did it. And I think some of the things that feel like they're incriminating, like the walk the dog letter, which we'll get to in a little bit, there are reasonable explanations for it. Maybe I'm being naive, but I try to put myself in the situation of Kouri. This case actually reminds me a lot of Pamela Smart's case. So my confirmation bias might be coming in a little bit, but I want to, be upfront about that, So if I give my opinion, know that it's because I've been seeing cases like this since the 80s and 90s, and nothing seems to have changed. We're still over sexualizing Kouri because she had an affair. And we're still tearing down the way she looks and her demeanor and her facial expressions. And either she's too pouty or she's too angry. None of those things means that she murdered her husband. So I just want to be clear that we don't often do that with male defendants. So if you think about like the Brian Walsh case, he was sort of pompous and a douchebag. And like when he put his face in front of the camera at Home Depot and was like fixing his hair, I was like, oh, you're a complete moron, dude. You're there to buy murder supplies and you're like checking yourself out. That was the one time where I like him, like a guy like dealing with their looks. I really commented on it. But when he was in court, he just sat there. He didn't make a lot of facial expressions. These women, Karen Reed, Kouri Richins, Pamela Smart, Kelsey to some extent, Kelsey Fitzsimmons, they all make facial expressions, and they've been torn down for their demeanor. And oftentimes they've been torn down for their attractiveness or not. So the big witnesses, let me put this one up. Hold on. The big witnesses in this case are addicts and drug dealers who have reason to lie. Didn't feel great after Carmen and the drug dealer man. Yeah. And one of the biggest things that happened in the trial this week, and we're going to get to it in depth, is that the drug dealer recanted his previous statements about the drugs that he gave to Carmen to give to Kouri. So we're going to get into it. Let's see. Are you in a shower? No, I'm not in a shower, you guys. This is like felt. These are sound panels. See? It's just like wood and sound panels. I built this. Chris. Bored of peace, or are we bored of peace? Exactly, Rob. The judge makes me very thirsty. Rebecca would love to hear that. I have to say, there's something that guy should do some ASMR. He has the smoothest voice. He's definitely a straight bear. He's right up Rebecca's alley. And I can understand why he might make you heterosexual ladies thirsty. He is very attractive. Like I said earlier, he's young. He's got a very baritone, like deep voice. He's very calm. So I think you should do ASMR. Um, I don't like the back. Oh no. Oh no. I'm a tile installer who builds showers. The grout lines don't line up and I'm noticing Chris. Okay. I don't have any grout lines. It's literally just, I mean, I understand what you're saying. I didn't put in, there's no grout in here. It's just felt tiles. So, add some flair. 20 pieces are the minimum, but we encourage you to express. Oh man, what was that movie from? What was that movie? What's that movie, Chris? From Bennigan's with the 20 pieces of flair. What was it? Um, Hey, Jen from Canada, sending all the positive vibes from up here in Canada. Keep fighting the good fight, friends. Yes, we love our Canadian friends. Uh, oh, thanks. Thanks for sending a link to the portable monitor, Rob. I appreciate you. I think the biggest problem that I'm having is PCs and Macs don't like each other. So I got to figure out, I just need to get a regular monitor, not a laptop, not an iPad. I just need like a regular little monitor. So Uh, this is a good point. Journeys of Peace says, I felt being a jerk with Jen McCabe was necessary because all the McAlberts were so cold. Yeah, and they were lying. I mean, you gotta like impeach somebody who's lying, you know? Let's see. Like Ashley Banfield. Yep. The jury should not be hearing any comments about her facial expressions. Yes, you're right, Cassandra. Hey, Nurse Kim. How are you, love? Good to see you. I'm on my own today. Rebecca is off. We're going to be covering, obviously, Kouri, the Kouri trial. So, all right, let me. Oh, wait. I'm not a hetero woman. I'm a queer man. Oh, my goodness. I had no idea. Did I just say that you were a hetero woman? Why did I think that? I'm so sorry, Ramado. Um, I can also see why you would be thirsty over the judge. I think he's a hottie, hottie babadi. Office space, office space, office space. Yes. 20 pieces of flair. I did not enjoy the deaf clapping back to the judge. I love the judge. Well, there's your confirmation bias because you're thirsty for the judge. So you're going to be pissed off when the defense attorneys get all snicky with him. Let's see. You should line up stickers under the QR code. P.S. My beef with the attorney is because she pressed CL about being neurodivergent, possibly dyslexic. I'm a teacher. I have no tolerance for that. That was not handled well. And we will get into it. It was a strange line of questioning. I agree. I have that testimony up. I'm gonna show some of it today. Yeah, that was uncomfortable. I think most of Carmen, so Carmen is the housekeeper that got the drugs for Kouri. And all of Carmen's testimony, including direct and the cross, was very uncomfortable because she has memory issues. And she's also, under an agreement with law enforcement, and there's some pretty sketch things that happen there with law enforcement, I have to say, and it's on record. and it was played in the trial, and or maybe it was read out, I can't remember, but some of it was pretty sketch. Aw, thanks, Becky. Thanks for hitting the like. Yeah, if everybody could go hit the like button and subscribe, I would appreciate that. All right. Do I have any more housekeeping for you? Join the Facebook group. Thanks for the tips. Thanks for the memberships. Go subscribe to Newslight with Mel Barrett if you get a sec or you think about it. It streams on Wednesdays at 7. Rebecca will be back with me on Monday, tomorrow, and we're going to be recapping Kouri's trial every day, or at least I will be. Rebecca will be here sometimes. All right. If I freeze on you, please let me know. But I have to go into a separate browser to, make sure I have everything right here. So we're going to start with day one. The opening statements were pretty interesting. They had some big moments. So let me see. Hold on. Okay. So presiding over this, I want to try to get people's names right. And there's going to be a lot of drug references. And if there are people in the chat who understand more about medications than I do, and I pronounce something wrong, please let me know. I've tried to do most of this phonetically. So this is going to be February 23rd through the 27th. So Monday through Friday. Is that right? Or Tuesday through, I think it's 5 days of trial. The presiding judge is Richard Mrazek. Mrazek. Prosecutors are Brad Bloodworth, which I found really interesting, and the defense attorneys Catherine Nestor and Wendy Lewis. Catherine and Wendy are the ones everyone is taking umbrage with because they think that they are assholes, which, I get it. So opening statements, Brad Bloodworth got up and he told the jurors the state will prove Richins poisoned her husband with a fentanyl-laced cocktail to collect life insurance and preserve a lifestyle she couldn't sustain. They framed her debt, which was more than $4 million, and her alleged plans with her boyfriend as a motive. We're going to get into that a little bit. We haven't really dug into that yet. And I guess let me sidebar myself a little bit here before we really get into the trial. I want to talk about some of the pretrial motions. So this is obviously nothing that happened last week, but we did have a lot of pretrial motions in this case. The defense asked for a change of venue and jury pool. They had issues with the jury pool. The initial request was back in April of 2025, and the judge denied the first motion to move the trial, saying that they could find a fair jury in Summit County, which is Utah. And then they had a Supreme Court appeal in June of 2025. The Utah Supreme Court declined to hear an interlocutory appeal on the venue issue, clearing the path for the trial to remain in Summit County. And then finally, they had a renewed request just days before the trial in February. The defense again requested a change of venue after reviewing 1,723 juror questionnaires. They argued that 85% of potential jurors were familiar with the case. That sucks. Sucks for Kouri. But the judge denied it. So, but then there was this called veneer expansion. I'm not really sure exactly what that is in legal terms, but a joint request by both parties to pull jurors from both Summit and Salt Lake counties was denied, as the court found Utah law only permits summoning jurors from a single county. So we have the jury we have. Kouri has the jury she has. They brought all of these things up and they put all the papers in, which means that it's all on the record. So if they, if Kouri ends up being found guilty, they can appeal on some of this stuff, which is good. They also had motions for bail and release. None of that really has much to do with what happened in the first week of the trial, but the defense did argue that Kouri should be released because she's had good behavior in jail and she was no longer facing the death penalty. And then the judge denied that request, citing that the risk of flight and the powerful incentive to harm herself or witnesses, given the potential for a life sentence, was there and present on the table. There was a third bail request. There was a third request for bail, which happened in November. So these were both in November, June, November, and November. And it was also denied despite the defense's claims that key evidence, specifically regarding the drug dealer's recantation, undermined the state's case. We're going to get into that because the drug dealer testified this week. Let's see. So here's a big one. And when I first started looking into this case, everyone was like, oh, wait until you get to the walk the dog letter. Wait until you get to the walk the dog letter. And I was like, all right, well, We'll see what happens. So the walk the dog letter, let me see if I can cliff notes it for you guys. Basically, since Kouri has been in jail, her cell was flipped by guards, which they do. They, search prisoners' cells all the time. And while they were flipping her cell one day, they discovered hidden in the pages of a book a 6-page letter to Kouri's mother. And in that letter, let me see if I can break the letter down a little bit. Okay. She wrote this in 2023, so September of 2023. The prosecution characterizes the letter as an attempt at witness tampering, while the defense maintains it is a draft for a fictional mystery novel Kouri was writing about her experience in a Mexican prison. We'll just take a moment with that. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's true. I think there are reasonable explanations for what Kouri wrote. I don't know why the defense would be like, she's writing a new book. Because I don't know if the audience knows, but Kouri wrote a book about grief, a children's book about grief for her 2 boys. And she went on a local media tour with that book. Okay, the contents of this letter. It allegedly instructs Kouri's mother, Lisa Darden, to have Kouri's brother, Ronald, but she calls him Ronnie, Darden, to testify that Eric Richins, Kouri's husband, had told him he obtained fentanyl and pain pills from Mexico through workers at a ranch, right? So that's me paraphrasing the letter. And she also directed her mother to take vague notes so she can remember the instructions before you walk the dog, which gave the letter its nickname. And that was basically to, kind of hide what she was doing. There are specific narratives, though, in this letter. It outlines a scenario for the testimony suggesting that Ronnie, her brother, should say that Eric hid the drugs in his work truck, which was emptied shortly after his death, to explain why no fentanyl was found in the home. Other requests, it also tells her mother to instruct an individual named Lotto not to text her about shared activities like church or skiing trips, as it doesn't look good for her case. She also brought up Katie, Eric's sister, in the letter, and that didn't look so great for her either. Let me see if I can, while I'm sitting right here, let me see if I can find the whole letter. Hold on a second. Because I just kind of went through it really quickly and wrote out some notes. Walk the dog. Oh, here we go. Oh, God, it's handwritten. Okay, so page 1. Let me see if I can share this with you. Hold on. This is fascinating. And guys, I will get back to the chat, but I can't see it when I'm on the other screen, just so you know. So I will scroll back up to see where we are. But again, I think this is probably going to be a long live just because there's a lot to get through. And I am going to try to take my time with this, and I'm going to try to not jump around so much, which is why I want to deal with the pretrial stuff before we even get into the first week. So, okay. Here, walk the dog, but take vague notes so you remember. Sky is saying, so Sky is one of her attorneys. Sky is saying, even if the gummies have fentanyl in them, the prosecutor will say, I tried to put the fentanyl in the gummies so Eric would have them. Stupid, I know, but that's what she's thinking. We will still test them, though. However, she wants to link Eric getting drugs and pills from Mexico. So we need some kind of connection. Her private investigator is doing some research on the ranch/cartel place Eric would stay at. Here's what I'm thinking, but you have to talk to Ronnie. He would probably have to testify to this, but it's super short, not a lot to it. He will need to tell Sky at the meeting next week. Okay. So right off the bat, to me, this sounds like they're coming up with defense strategy. It doesn't sound sketch to me. It sounds very similar to the way that Pamela Smart would talk to her family and her attorneys and be like, guys, I'm brainstorming here. I'm sitting in jail. There's really not much else I can do except for focus on my case. So, Kouri has told these stories many times about Eric going to Mexico and using her luggage to put the drugs in it. We don't know if it's true or not, but if her brother can corroborate that, if it in fact happened and her brother can corroborate it, to me, this sounds like we need Ronnie to testify. So he's going to need to get on top of his shit and testify. I know Kouri is also a control freak, much like I hate the word control freak, actually. I hate those words together because it's always put on women. Karen Reed would be considered a control freak because she knew her own case inside and out. And she was probably the best lawyer for herself, even though she wasn't representing herself. Pam Smart played the same role. I think Kouri is trying to play the same role here because basically when you're in a situation like this and you're facing life in prison, either without the possibility of parole or the death penalty or whatever it is you might be facing, it's the rest of your life, possibly. And you want to make sure that the people that you're paying or the people that have been appointed to you are fighting as hard as they can for you. And they should have all the details. Okay. That's all I'll say about that right now. So upon information and belief, just like they say, so this is from, legal briefs. A year prior to Eric's death, Ronnie was over watching football one Sunday, and Eric and Ronnie were chatting about Eric's Mexico trip. So this is Kouri being like, "Mom, this happened. Eric told Ronnie he gets pain pills and fentanyl from Mexico from the workers at the ranch. Not to tell me because I would get mad because I always said he just gets high every night and won't help take care of the kids. There are pictures in my phone of Eric passed out on the floor or in the chair. Ronnie should have texts from Eric talking about getting high as well." To me, this doesn't sound made up. This sounds like something that happened that Ronnie can corroborate, as he should, but it also sounds like she doesn't trust her dumb brother, and I'm saying that because it's probably her attitude, like, Ronnie's a dumbass, make sure he does the right thing, 'cause, that's what we do as women sometimes. Eric told Ronnie he keeps them in an allergy pill bottle in his work truck so I won't find them. Ronnie never told me about the conversation. Eric finally told me and asked if Carmen could get him some. Carmen is the housekeeper. And she's been called a housekeeper, but as far as I understand it, Kouri actually hired her to clean houses that she's flipping. So Corey's in real estate. She's flipping. Oftentimes she hires a crew. Carmen was the housekeeper for that. So Eric never wanted anyone to know we had an issue, especially get caught. He always wanted Kouri to go down for him. When they traveled, Eric would put his drugs in Kouri's bag at the I don't know what that says, right before they boarded. I think it said lines. That way, if they were caught, Kouri got in trouble, not him. Once they got to wherever they were going, Eric would pull the drugs out of her bag and it would cause a huge fight. She was pissed he would risk her going to jail for his drug use. He just would laugh about it. Couldn't run his image. Sorry. Eric couldn't ruin his image that he had drug issues, so he would do whatever he had to. Kouri has never done any types of pills, didn't like them. Rarely would she consume the only THC only if Eric begged her because it was a special occasion. So this is Kouri writing out what her mom should be telling her brother, Ronnie. Hold on, I'm getting very dry mouth. Reword this however he needs to. Just make the point that he needs to include it all. The connection has to be made with Mexico and drugs. Ronnie will have the messages to prove Eric. So, okay, again, to me, what this sounds like is a type A aggressive person who wants to make sure the story gets told right. And she's worried her brother's going to fuck it up. So she's giving him what he needs to say. And I think, that probably comes off as her trying to feed him a story. But here's where I don't think that's the case. Ronnie will have the messages to prove Eric confided in him about getting high. It can be short and to the point, but it has to be done upon information and belief, LOL. What she's saying is Ronnie has the proof on his phone. Make sure he tells it the right way so that people understand and isn't acting like a dumbass. That's the way I read it. Because I don't know, I probably would have done the same thing in this situation. I'd be like, "Listen, my dumbass brother talked to my dumbass husband." Sorry, I'm not disparaging Eric, but this is the way I'm sort of like, this is the way it's coming off. Make sure he does the right thing. He has the proof on his phone. He needs to make sure he explains it properly. That's what it sounds like to me. Correct me if I'm wrong or if you think otherwise. They never found pain pills or fentanyl in my house because he hid it in an allergy bottle in the work truck. And Cody emptied out the work truck within a week, so they were never found. When we talk to Ronnie about this, meet up with him in person. I worry sometimes your house and phone are bugged, with good reason. Maybe drive down to SC and meet him after work without Bree. Sky has to make the connection between Eric and Mexico because that makes the most sense in her mind. If it's Ronnie's information and belief about the conversation over football, she can use that as a connection. Tell Ronnie, don't overanalyze it. It was a quick 2-minute conversation. LOL. Tell him I need him to do this. Bring me home, and then we will get those damn bitches. And I assume that what she's talking about by get those damn bitches is probably Eric's family, because at this point in time, Eric's family had spent a lot of money on a private investigator. We'll get into that in a little bit. Also, please text Lotto or call. Tell him, do not text me anything about us doing things together ever. I like church, skiing trips, nothing that puts us together. It doesn't look good. I'm not sure who Lotto is. I'm sure we will get into that. We're so close to the end. Let's push through. Have the conversation with Ronnie before he meets with Sky. Then tell him to tell Sky at the meeting about the conversation. Hang in there. We're almost there. Love you to the moon. Take vague notes of all this so you remember before you walk the talk. Just a reminder. I saw a commercial yesterday, Utah Mortgage Relief. Okay, this is about basically trying to take out I'm going to paraphrase this part. Taking out a home equity loan on the house. I'm not sure whose house. I think it might be Ronnie's house. Basically, they want to take out a HELOC so they can get some extra money to help with her defense fund. But this is a part where people I think are going to take, who are really going to judge her, because this is about Katie, who is Eric's sister. Katie has the history with Katie and Eric, and Kouri isn't great because Eric confided in Katie about all of his marital problems and their bad sex life, or his sex life. I'm not really sure. And Katie was very much in love with her brother. And I don't mean that in a salacious way. She loved her brother. And eventually Eric, I believe, told Katie that he thought that Kouri was trying to kill him. And they changed the executor of his estate, or the power of attorney, I should say. And they changed beneficiaries on his life insurance. So Kouri and Katie don't like each other. Katie also gets impeached on the witness stand by the defense attorneys when she's talking about Kouri and the morning that Eric died. So, but this is pretty heinous. It's pretty despicable, and I don't like it. So Kouri says, remember I told you one way to get at Katie is going through my phone and finding a picture of her girls, even with the boys. So her girls, meaning her children, with Kouri's boys. Print 15 copies and send them out anonymously to different media companies. Obviously, don't email the pictures so it's not traceable. She would be livid if it got out to the public. You would just have to do it sneakily and be careful. She would try and trace it back to you. If not, no worries. You know, I don't want to give her a lot of benefit of the doubt here. What she's doing is sketchy and shitty. At the same time, she had started having some media experience herself. And unfortunately, some people in the world of media and film and television and all these things, publishing, they do shit like this. I mean, our president does it, like leakers and sending out fake stories, calling themselves by different names and giving comments. You know, it's like, when people create like fake Twitter accounts and then they boost their own Twitter feeds. Well, people have been doing this for years, 50 plus years with the press, where they call in or they write in and they say, hey, my name is John Barron, and I think that the president of the United States, Donald Trump, is an amazing human being and very sexy. Kouri is suggesting that her mother do the same thing to discredit Katie, her ex-sister-in-law. Not cool, but I understand it to some extent. Sky is having my girls do the first interview with Good Morning America. Please tell Chelsea to bring up that he hasn't. Okay. When it says Sky is having my girls, Sky is the attorney and she's having Kouri's friends, my girls, do the first interview with Good Morning America. Please tell Chelsea to bring up that he hasn't been to church in the last 13 years that she has known him. Eric would brag to her about how much he drank and did pills in high school. Tell Kelsey to say Quote, "Eric always wanted Kouri to go down for him," end quote. For example, he would put drugs in her suitcase when we would travel together, so if anyone got caught, it was Kouri. He would put them in her bag right before they left in the house so Kouri didn't know. Then we would land wherever, Eric would take them out. So she's already told this story. She's asking her friends to tell the story again. It sounds to me like she at least wants this story out there, and there might be some truth to it. I don't know. What's your opinion? Um, have Selma talk about Eric in Spain not being able to drink, so he was looking for drugs the entire time, and explain the drink the waitress gave him and how I called his doctor and went to the pharmacy immediately. Have Allie talk about how the sisters have always been jealous of me because anything they could do, Kouri could do it better. Being a mom, college, stay-at-home wife until she built $1 million company, a nice house, car, everything she had, they wanted. This comes down to jealousy, money, and Eric's partying that they didn't want to acknowledge, and sadly, an accidental overdose. Kouri is writing a letter to her mother, and she's laying out a narrative, and she is asking her mother to make sure that she passes this information on and that she gets it right. To me, there's narcissism here, of course. But Kouri has also been sitting there and psychoanalyzing this whole thing and coming up with a narrative in in her mind and possibly motives for the people. Um, and like I said, she's narcissistic, so she thinks that people are jealous of her, and they very well might be. They may have even had issues within the family at picnics or whatever, where Kouri is like, where they realize that they're jealous of Kouri, or maybe they treated her like shit. I have an aunt in my family that every woman in the family was jealous of her, including my own mother and my other aunts, because she was young and attractive and outgoing, and men liked her, and she had a successful husband, and they had a big house and cars. And I've heard this story before. Come on, you guys. This is a real story. Women get jealous of other women and they get petty about it, right? This is what Kouri thinks and this is what she feels, and she wants her friends to tell her story because she's not able to right now because there is a gag order in this case. Okay. Lastly, don't forget to work on the gun receipts. We want to file charges and let the prosecutor not do anything about it to use in our defense. Will you buy a box of Crest White strips, open them up, put it in an envelope, and have Sky give them to me? You can tell her what's in the envelope. I'm sure she won't care. I'll make sure they can't be found in my cell. My teeth are yellow from so much coffee and tea all day. I love you. I love you. I love you. Hang in there. We're getting there slowly. You're the best mom in the whole world. I'm so lucky to have you. Okay. Take a deep breath. How are we feeling? Let me go through the chat a little bit because I'm really far behind. Let's see. I think I ended on 328. Okay. Okay. So Dusty Rose says, Kouri was giggling about a comment in court and I was literally laughing out loud. It makes people look more human to me. Okay. Agreed. I like a young judge like that. Let's see. Office Space, Office Space. Where was I? 328. Okay. Judge's voice is hot, Jessica says, and they agree with you, Romodo. Um, okay. One of my former colleagues was in a DV marriage and filing for divorce when he passed suddenly from a fentanyl OD. That's terrifying. I'm so sorry to hear that, Kim. And I can't imagine what your friend was going through. And they were probably considered suspects if there was any kind of like strangeness. I don't know. Hey, Allie. Allie in Texas. Previous attorney had to recuse due to conflict in the case. Yeah, that's Sky, I think, that we're talking about, despite the look on my face. I think that's not what I'm saying. The person who's left this comment, despite the look on my face. Previous attorney had to recuse due to conflict in civil cases. Oh, Allie in Texas, if Nurse Kim is still here, Allie in Texas says, "Great Sunday service this morning." Some of this letter is not coming in. That is true. I'm gonna get to that in just a moment, but, so part of the pretrial motions hearings, the judge ruled that some of this letter isn't gonna get through. I will explain that in just a moment. Kevin from South Boston, you're hot. You're hot, Karen. Let's see. Messed up if true. The autopsy says otherwise about his alleged drug use. Yes, and there are some interesting things that happen on the stand about his alleged drug use. Her false narrative. Island Life says, my advice is if you're type A, don't kill anyone, Tia Kayla says. Kouri say they're with their discovery like C. Adelson and came up with narrative. Quite possibly. In my opinion, Kouri was the drug addict, not Eric. I'd love to know what formed that opinion for you. I think that's interesting. I've been hearing it a lot. Hey, Kate for the lulz. Nice to see you. My first time in your chat. Well, I'm so glad you're here. Usually I'm here with Rebecca, but today it's just me because Rebecca is busy this weekend, and I really wanted to do this whole recap of the first week of the Kouri Richins trial so that we can get into real time on Monday. Defendants have a lot of time to come up with scenarios. That is true. You giggle every time I say what? You're hot? I did have some requests in the Facebook group to say that on every live, so I'm going to try to do that. I just have to figure out how to put it in because sometimes it's awkward. I love the judge in the case, but not as much as the Murdaugh case. Yeah, he was my favorite of all judges. Agreed. There are some really good judges in the Karen Reed civil case of it all that I really, really, really like. Okay, let me get back to these pretrial motions. Here we go. Okay. So as far as the walk the dog letter, in January 2026, the judge partially granted the prosecution's motion to include the letter as evidence at the trial. While the judge ruled that portions of the letter are admissible to show quote unquote consciousness of guilt, the admission is limited. So the court he didn't immediately make public which specific sections were going to be redacted or which portions the jury isn't going to be permitted to see. But earlier in November, the judge had denied a defense motion to dismiss the entire case based on the prosecution's public filing of the letter. Finding the careful, I mean, I do think it's kind of shitty. You know, if the prosecution publicly filed this in the papers and this letter came out and a jury member saw it, that's not cool. Not cool at all. Okay, so as of the end of the week of the first week of this trial, the letter has not yet been presented to the jury as a formal exhibit. The first week of testimony is mostly focusing on opening statements, family and first responders, drug procurement, all that stuff. But the walk the dog letter it's part of the state's intended, like it's part of their evidence to prove motive and consciousness of guilt. It's expected, I think they're expecting to introduce it in later stages of the trial, probably during testimony from investigators who found it. Let's see. And there were a couple of other things that Kouri wrote down, and other data that was taken. So there's this orange notebook. Excuse me. Oh, sorry. Everyone in my house has been sick and we're all getting over this stupid cold. I didn't mean to cough in your ear. So there's this orange notebook, the notebook which allegedly contains it's her like firsthand account of what happened the night Eric died. It was seized from her house without a warrant. Now, the cops didn't know that they were looking at a homicide when they first came there. So that's where a lot of the issues with the investigation come from, in my opinion. And so I don't know when the orange notebook was seized. I don't know if it was seized in those first few days or if it was weeks later or a year later. I don't know. But the judge denied a pretrial motion request to admit it as case in chief evidence. The judge denied a pre-trial request to admit it as case-in-chief evidence, but ruled it could be used if prosecutors make a showing during the trial. I don't know exactly what that means. I assume that if it's introduced, if anything in that book is introduced, then they can use it, but we haven't gotten there yet. There was a lot of electronic and phone data, which some of it came up in opening statements. The defense filed motions to suppress electronic data and statements made by Kouri before her arrest, though many of these were ultimately admitted following evidentiary hearings. And then we had some expert witness testimony. So we had some Daubert hearings In January 2026, the court issued several rulings limiting expert testimony. So, the handwriting expert, his name is Matt Throckmorton. He has been fully admitted to testify regarding whether signatures on insurance documents were likely forged by Kouri. Um, and then there's a behavioral expert, Molly Amon, who is limited to rebuttal testimony only. She was barred from using behavioral quote unquote pathway to violence models to suggest Kouri's guilt or profile her character. So, mm, interesting. And then Dr. Sherry Venino, who was a domestic violence expert, was barred from testifying unless the state could prove non speculative evidence that Eric knew about the previous poisoning attempts. So this is interesting because I haven't read it in any of the papers yet or heard any testimony about this. Maybe Katie went through it. I can't remember. But I feel like Eric told Katie, his sister, that he thought Kouri was trying to do something to him. A couple more procedural pretrial stuff. Gag order in June 2023. The prosecutors wanted a full gag order. The judge denied a full, but issued a protection order. So it limited extrajudicial statements from the attorneys involved. In January 2026, the defense filed a motion accusing investigators of quote unquote blatant witness intimidation because they presented texts from Detective Jeff O'Driscoll threatening a witness, which we're going to get into. I don't like the way they threatened this witness. I don't like the words they use or what they were threatening them with, and it's kind of fucked up. Really made me mad. We'll get into it. The judge denied the defense's request to sanction the prosecution. And he also ruled that the communications were relevant to the credibility of the investigation, unfortunately. This allowed the defense to use the messages as impeachment evidence during the trial. So they will use it. They did use it in the first week, and it's kind of fucked up. We'll get there. Okay. I think we got through all the pretrial. I'm going to close this one out so I don't. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at. So the court TV did this sort of like nice little couple minute recap. We're going to take a look at a recap of day one, and then we're going to break it down a little bit. Y'all ready? Wait, let me check the chat really quick. Okay. TC Nerd said, we think the dealer messed with her by providing the cheaper fentanyl instead of oxy, and she was prepared with empty oxy bottles. That is a very interesting take. Interesting. Yeah, we're definitely going to get into that. Was Kouri drug tested? Was she a gummy user? I don't know. Anybody in the chat know? I don't think she was. And oh my God, how can I forget, Allie? We love our Queen Judge Frenea on the Brian Walsh case, who is definitely not besties with Bev or McCarthy Neiman. No, she is not. She's a hottie babadi. Any thoughts on the defense asking for a mistrial? I think that all defense teams are going to ask for a mistrial if they think that something has happened that screws their client, even if it's small. I mean, we saw it happen in the Karen Reed trial several times, and they had a right to. I think all defense attorneys have a right to ask for a mistrial. I do think the investigators overreached in this case, and we're going to get to that. They definitely were threatening witnesses, and I don't think that they handled Carmen, the housekeeper who supplied the drugs to Kouri. I know that people in the chat were talking about how pissed off they were about how the defense attorneys talked to Carmen and how they handled her. The investigators did the same things to this woman. These people were scared. They had reason to be scared. And I think that because they had reason to be scared, it tainted their testimony and their affidavits and the stories that they're telling, in my opinion. Okay. Okay. Yeah, Detective O'Driscoll was a dumbass, it seems. This is I've never heard this one before, Tatted TT. I think Kouri got the fent from her mom. Why? What makes you think that? And despite the look on my face, every time I say that, I'm like, I'm not actually saying that. But anyway, we'll find out tomorrow. They're putting the mistrial motion and denial on the record. Good, good, good. I don't think it'll happen, but The little I saw, they were very fast and loose in their language. Yes. Sorry, my coughing out of control. Okay. Drug dealers can be charged with murder as seen in Matthew Perry. Look at how old my cup is. This is from 2015. Nasty Women Unite. If you know, you know. Okay. Are we ready to watch? Is this day one? Yes.
Kouri Richins returns to the bedroom at about 3:00 a.m. She feels that Eric is cold. She nudges him. He does not respond. She sees that he is stiff and pale. His mouth is wide open. At 3:06 a.m., Kouri Richins unlocks her cell phone. She travels 243 feet beginning at 3:08 a.m. She unlocks her cell phone again at 3:10, 3:15, and twice at 3:19. At 3:21, Kouri Richins unlocks her cell phone and calls 911. Weeks before attempting to murder Eric Richins, Kouri Richins took out an insurance policy by fraud and forgery on Eric's life. And 2 weeks after Eric died, she submitted a fraudulent claim on yet another insurance policy. Almost a year after Eric Richins' death, when Kouri Richins knew the police were investigating her for death, Kouri Richins published a children's book on how to deal with the loss of a parent. And she promoted that children's book on local television and local radio.
When Eric died, his Apple Watch was hanging on a charger, nice and neat. His phone was in a charger on the nightstand. He was lying in his underwear, like when you go to bed, and he was on his back on his side of the bed. So it appears pretty clear that Eric went to bed and fell asleep and died in his sleep. You're also going to hear that there was an empty pill bottle right next to him in his nightstand. And I want you to pay careful attention to this. The empty pill bottle expired in 2016. You're going to hear testimony that a medical examiner has the ability to declare the manner of someone's death. It can be homicide, it can be suicide, it can be accidental overdose, it can be murder, it can be anything. To this day, the medical examiner, the professional that's the head of declaring how people die in the state of Utah, has never been able to determine the manner of Eric Richins' death.
What, if anything, did Kouri Richins say to you?
You know, I don't recall her saying much of anything to me. When I came in and my daughter, Katie, told me that Eric was gone, they helped me onto the couch, and I don't ever recall of even talking to Kouri, to be quite honest with you.
Did there come a time later when Kouri Richins told you what caused Eric's death?
It was. She called me and said that she had just talked to the medical examiner, and they had determined that he died of the same thing Linda did, and COVID.
And Linda was your wife, right?
Linda was my wife, yes.
What, if anything, struck you about Kouri Richins telling you that Eric died of the same thing that Linda died of?
Well, as I said, I called my daughter, Katie. Katie, in turn, called the medical examiner, and they had never received a call from Kouri. They had not even released the results from it yet.
Okay. So that was just a little snippet of what was happening. Let me grab my notes. Stop sharing. Okay. So opening statements, everyone's laying out their story. The prosecution is telling the jurors that the state is going to prove that that Kouri poisoned her husband with a fentanyl-laced cocktail. I think that's important because a lot of emphasis in the testimony I've heard so far is on the drugs that were given to Kouri. But we've gotten so sidetracked in the testimony because of the drug dealers that we're not focusing, the prosecution isn't really focusing on the Moscow Mule glasses that were in the sink, which is how they're saying that Kouri administered the drugs. But those glasses were never tested. So the fact that they've tied themselves into this storyline that it was in the Moscow Mules, it could have been in, I'm sorry. Hold on just a second. What? Oh, she accidentally called me. Okay, so it could have been in the food that Kouri had made for them that evening, if that's what, like if that's where they want to go. But they're tying themselves into this narrative that it is a fentanyl-laced cocktail, the Moscow Mule. They're saying that she did it to collect life insurance and preserve a lifestyle she couldn't sustain. So this $4 million in debt, her alleged plans with her boyfriend, which we'll get into. The prosecutors cite text messages between Kouri and her boyfriend, including on the one of the day before Eric's death, asking, quote, "If I was divorced right now and asked you to marry me, ... end quote. So yeah, some of that stuff is weird. She also sent out a couple of memes, or looked at a couple memes that showed like a woman wiping away her tears with dollars, and another one that says I'm rich, and distasteful. I don't know if they prove that she did it. They didn't have a great marriage. Doesn't mean she killed him. We're not there yet. I haven't gotten there yet. If I were in the jury, I wouldn't be there yet. The defense, on the other hand, opened by playing Kouri's 911 call. Now, I've heard Kouri's 911 call. I don't know if you have. Let me know in the chat if you have or you have not. Kouri's 911 call is problematic as far as I'm concerned. And it's me, like, this is me going against my own rules and thinking about demeanor and things like that, because in the 911 call, she's not harried at all. She's not, and she's already sort of decided that he's dead, because he's cold to the touch. And it doesn't sound authentic to me, but that's my opinion. Anybody else in the chat hear the 911 call? Let's see. Y'all are coming along while I run errands. Hope no one gets car sick. I think that's how she handled it to get it in his drink. I'm assuming you guys are talking about the tweezers, right? Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I don't think it came out yet, but weren't the dishes washed? They were, yeah. As far as I understand it, Pimabo, what I've read so far is that the Moscow Mule glasses were half full in the sink. So if the fentanyl was in there, Rebecca made the point the other day, though, that if she were to do it, she would make the drinks, put the fentanyl in it, give it to Eric, and then dump them out, wash them, make new drinks, make it look like they drank them, put them in the sink. So the investigators would test it. There wouldn't be in fentanyl. But I think even if you clean those glasses, there would probably still be traces of fentanyl. Who knows? Unless it was like cleaned and then put through the dishwasher. And from the way that I understand it, the cops never even looked at the glasses. I don't even think they went into the kitchen. Those glasses were then the next day picked up by a housekeeper, emptied out, cleaned, and put in the dishwasher. So, yeah. Kayla says they haven't heard the 911. As authentic as Jen McCabe. Yep. I agree. It was forced. She sounds like a 3-year-old. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but let me play a little bit of it for y'all. Let me see. Oh God, I hate ads on YouTube. I hate ads too. Okay, here we go. Let me see if I can share this. Man, I am doing so much multitasking today. I'm very proud of myself. Okay, we ready? This is a little bit of the 911 call. Oop, I did stop sharing. Just kidding. I just said I was doing a great job and then I fucked it up. Okay. It's so hard to switch back and forth between two browsers. Okay.
Okay, what's the
I'm gonna
address?
rewind this a little bit.
911, what's the address of the emergency? My husband's not breathing. He's cold. Okay, what's the address?
Pay attention to Kouri.
Okay, what's the good phone number in case it got disconnected? 671 4987. Okay, it's gonna be in Francis. Okay, tell me exactly what happened. I don't know. I was sleeping with my kid. Okay, I can't understand you. I need you to take a deep breath. What's going on? I don't know. I was sleeping in with my kids. I just came in the bed, in our bed, and I turned over. And I think he's cold. He's just cold. Who's cold? My husband. I turned the light off. And he's not breathing?
You guys get the gist, right? It's hard to listen to. She's really not being helpful. Of course, who knows what she's going through? We can't see her, we can't see her. We can only hear her. So it's tough. It's tough. I don't think that 911 calls are, unless, something is said in the background or something crazy happens. I don't think that they're a great determination of guilt or innocence, obviously. But there's just no urgency. And that's the only thing that bothered me. Island Life 2026 says they didn't consider his death suspicious, that the paramedic speculated an aneurysm. And that's where she got the information about the aneurysm. That's why she told the dad. You saw that in the clip I just played. She told the dad that he had an aneurysm because that's what the EMTs were saying. So, Tatted TT says, but they could have been different glasses altogether. I think Kouri had this way more planned out and the time lapse made it hard to charge her. Quite possibly. This is a really big point. Kouri talks a lot about his drug use and his alcohol use. It sounds like her brother talked to him about it as well, and that there's evidence of that on his phone. Who knows? Drinking and drugs, definitely against Mormonism. This guy was brought up LDS. He may not have been practicing, but I think that his family was. So sharing that information with them might have been a bad thing. He might have been hiding it from people. We talked about Auntie Diane the other day, which is, if you haven't seen it, the documentary, Something's Wrong with Auntie Diane or Auntie Diane. And a lot of people said that she may have been hiding her drug and alcohol abuse, because she was this world-class mom who didn't make mistakes and who didn't let her guard down. People do that all the time. People hide things from their spouses. People hide things from their kids. People hide things from their parents. Happens all the time. Who knows? Okay. I haven't gotten to the body cam footage yet. Lovely flight. The body cam footage of the cops who went over that night is very telling. Yeah, we haven't gotten to that yet, but hid, not his. Oh, that's very sweet of you. Jen's dog Jonah. What a very beautiful, is that German Shepherd? No. What kind of shepherd is that? What a beautiful dog. We're so fortunate for your thorough coverage of this case. Thank you, Mel. Thank you all for being here, and I appreciate you. Okay. Let's get into a little bit more of this in detail. Hold on. Okay. So the defense in their opening played the 911 call. They emphasized her audible sobbing and shock. I don't know if that's going to help them. The defense also suggested that Eric may have accidentally overdosed due to a history of pain and chronic illness, and that a grieving family was attempting to force a narrative of guilt. That grieving family is Eric Richins' family, I think spearheaded by Katie and the dad, but that's my opinion. So motive is really difficult. I'm not a lawyer. I should probably state that. Like, everything that I'm talking about is feeling and emotion and what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing, and it's opinion. I am not a lawyer. Neither is Rebecca. We like to play them on TV, but we are not lawyers. So the prosecution's case for motive, which I think motive is a really strange concept if you think about it. There are facts, there's reasoning, Motive is really difficult. Because how do you know unless you completely lay it out like in like the Alec Murdaugh case, right? Alec Murdaugh. Alec Murdaugh. The way that it was laid out in the Alec Murdaugh case really showed his motivation for what he was doing. I felt like that was hit the hammer, hit the nail. What is it? Hit the nail on the head. This one, I feel like it's tale as old as time. They've been telling this story since, Pamela Smart and probably before, but the prosecution's case for motive is built upon a complex web of financial desperation and a desire for a fresh start with a new partner. They're supporting this motive with extensive digital footprints and a forensic accounting. So, here's some of the evidence that the prosecutors are alleging that Kouri put her on the precipice, the quote unquote precipice of a total financial collapse at the time of Eric's death. She was in a staggering debt load. So, approximately 4.5 million in debt. 1.8 million of that debt was owed to a private hard money lenders and negative bank account balance. I don't know what the negative bank account balance was, but 1.8 million of it, yikes. By the day after Eric's death, her business debt reportedly surged to nearly 5 million. She had unauthorized loans. So in 2019, Kouri allegedly used a power of attorney to obtain a $250,000 HELOC or a home equity loan of credit or home equity line of credit on Eric's premarital home without his knowledge. Eek. A discovery that became a major source of marital tension. So he found out at some point, which is probably why he started changing everything and going to Katie, his sister, and telling her everything. There were bank overdrafts. The state introduced records of over 200 overdrafted transactions, including a period where she overdrafted more than $300,000. I get freaked the fuck out when I overdraft by like $5. Like, what's the fee on $300,000? Like, what's the bank fee for an overdraft on $300,000? That's terrifying. She also had really high risk real estate, that 3.2 or 3.5 million. I think it was 3.2. That $3.2 million mansion that she bought and was going to flip, that didn't happen. Oof, this woman. I mean, I think she was too big for her britches, it seems like. So, and then the other part of this is the affair and the fresh start narrative. So Kouri had an established relationship with this dude named Robert Josh Grossman. And the prosecutors, they are going to show, or they've already shown some series of texts between Kouri and Robert and fantasies of like Eric going away. We've heard that one before. Kouri reportedly fantasized about Eric going away and expressed dreams of a life where she and Grossman would be married and run an event center in the new Midway mansion, the one that she was working on, that $3.2 million mansion. And then 3 days after Eric's death, Kouri allegedly texts Grossman, "I think I want you to be my husband one day." Mm-hmm. So the rest of the motive is about, future plans with this dude. The prosecutors claim that Kouri opened numerous life insurance policies on Eric without his knowledge over several years. Total benefits reaching nearly $2 million. Estate misconceptions. Kouri allegedly believed she would inherit Eric's entire estate. She was wrong, because in the prenup that they signed, if they got divorced, Kouri would get nothing. But if Eric died, she'd get most of everything except for, like whatever the kids got. However, Eric got with his sister. Maybe they were Kister and brother. Eric had secretly gotten with his sister, and he moved assets into a living trust, and he had his sister start to manage that trust, which cut Kouri out. Kouri didn't know that. Then Kouri sent out these "I'm rich" memes the day after his death, which doesn't help her case. So, yeah. She had some incriminating searches. I don't think they were that incriminating on her computer. Women, Utah prison, luxury prisons for the rich in America. So what? I mean, I look up that shit all the time. It doesn't matter. She did search for, can cops, quote, can cops force you to do a lie detector test, end quote. She had some data deletion. Investigators found evidence that Kouri deleted text messages from the months surrounding the death and searched for ways to recover or remotely delete messages after her phone was seized. And then there's the walk the dog letter, of course. Okay. So in the first day, Eric's sister, Eric's father, and Katie's husband. So Katie is Eric's sister and Katie's husband, Clint. They were all called to the stand. And there were a few dramatic moments during that testimony. Basically, the prosecution emphasized that, Kouri had published this children's book after Eric's death and promoted it publicly. And I'm assuming that most jurors knew that already. If 85% of people already knew about this case, then the jurors already knew about that. But there's this one video. Let's see. I can't believe everybody thinks I look like I'm in a shower stall. I did so much work. It's okay. I'll figure it out. Okay. I want to play this one video. That is, I'm going to have to speed through it a little bit. But this is the cross-examination on Katie. And it got a little awkward because she definitely got impeached. So I want to play this for you guys. Hold on. Let me share this. Cross-examination. Okay. Ready? Here we go.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So just so you know, I have it on 1.5 speed because everybody talks so slowly.
May it please the court. Good afternoon, Ms. Richins Benson. So when we took a break, I had confirmed with you that it's your recollection that Kouri had a sweatsuit, a matching sweatsuit, and fixed hair, and that she did not comfort you when you fell to the ground. Is that correct?
To my recollection.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to watch a clip from that morning that was taken off of an officer's body cam and see if you can confirm that that's in fact you and Kouri that morning.
Ruh-roh.
Katie, can you play it? Is that you in the clip?
Yes, that's me.
Okay. Your Honor, at this point, I'd move to admit as exhibit maybe 3001 for now. The clip.
3002.
I'm sorry. 3002?
Yeah.
3000, correct.
This is lettering.
Your Honor, no
Listen to that straight bear.
objection to admission. We'll figure out nomenclature later.
Sounds good.
And just for the purpose
Nomenclature.
of the jury, just a short explanation that we will supplement this with a blurred version, but for now there's just a black box over where the children's photos are since it's being played publicly. But that'll, if it goes back to the jury room, that box will be removed and the pictures will just be blurred.
You can play the clip.
Thanks, Kate.
Play it.
All right, so as you're watching this clip, there's an officer there, but that's Kouri right there, right? And she's squatting down to hug you.
Ooh.
Is that right? Katie, could you play that
sorry.
again?
I'm sorry, this is hard with two Katies.
There are two Katies. I'm sorry. I'll call you Ms. Richins Benson. How about that?
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so that's Kouri. Freeze it right there, Katie Nestor. Okay, and that hair right there, that's what you're saying she had fixed? Just her hair up and messy like that?
Yeah, as you can see, mine was down and messy and
Oh my God.
didn't have contacts in anything.
Sure. So both of you had messy hair, and she's also clearly wearing pajamas. Does that refresh your memory that she's not in a sweatsuit?
Listen
She
to
was in
this.
pajamas.
I am not a fashionista, so to
Wow.
me, that's a sweatsuit or pajamas, just to be honest.
Okay, and then
Wow.
keep playing, Kate, Ms. Nestor. And
Looking at
that's
the
her
jury.
squatting down to comfort you while you're on the ground, and that's y'all hugging, right?
Yep.
Correct.
So your memory about that was clearly wrong.
Right?
To be fair, it was 4 years ago.
Okay.
Oh, fuck off.
And everything
Right.
you're testifying about here about that morning was 4 years ago. Is that right?
Correct.
Okay.
Okay.
You can take that down, Katie. Thank you. Other
Okay. We'll get into some more of that stuff later. I was really annoyed by that. I don't like it when witnesses for either side, and I don't care what your motivation is. I do not like it when witnesses lie or they're disingenuous or they're trying to sell a narrative. Like that is not the witness's job. That's the lawyer's job. The way that Kouri Richins, she reminded me so much of Jen McCabe, except for she wasn't as combative, but she was completely tilted and turned to the jury the whole time. And you could see she would give her answer and then she would look at the members of the jury to see what their reaction was. But she had literally testified that Kouri didn't seem upset about Eric's death. Her hair was done. She was wearing like a fancy sweatsuit. And when Katie was on the ground crying about her dead brother, Kouri did nothing to comfort her. Why would she lie about that kind of stuff? It doesn't help their case. If she's trying to push the narrative, that doesn't help their case. It makes the jury go, why the fuck are you lying about this shit? We can see it with our own eyes. And just being like, her hair was, was coiffed and she was wearing a fancy sweatsuit and she didn't even bother to, are you fucking kidding me? Stop doing this. Say the straight facts. So, because the thing is, if Kouri Richins is actually guilty of this crime, what you're doing is fucking that up. So stop lying. Pisses me off. Okay. Let me go back through some of the comments. He was also in Antabuse. Despite the look on my face, he says he was also in Antabuse for his Lyme. How does one drink while on that? Was he not currently taking it? I don't know. I don't know anything about Lyme's disease, but I've heard it's awful. Yes, he is a German Shepherd, and he is a cutie. Look at that face. Oh my God. His name is Jonah. Jen's dog, Jonah. Is his name Jonah? What a cutie. For those of you in the audience that don't know, I used to own, for 13 years, I owned a dog walking company. And I'm obsessed with dogs. And I've got one right here, but she has passed the F out. And so I'm not going to disrupt her right now. Eric Richins' mother, Cynthia says, was a drug and alcohol counselor, and the family was very against drugs and alcohol. So, I mean, add on top of that, if they were also LDS. So if either of them was using, I'm sure that they kept it well hidden. Yep, agreed. Jonah was a former cat of the week on Crime Writers On. I love that. Danielle. I'm a substitute teacher, and a little girl in class last week had a shirt that said dance. And when I saw it, all I wanted to blurt out was dream and never cease eternity. I had a hard time putting that logo on some of the new merch, but there is the dad hat and there are the socks. So if you guys want that, let me know. If Eric was a drug addict, his autopsy would support that theory. Yeah, I think a lot of people are saying that. I mean, some of the drugs, especially the THC stays in your system. It's stored in your fat cells. So, Jen's dog Jonah became a new member. Thanks, love. Love that. Let's see. Romado says, in response to despite the look on my face, I do not think he was taking his Lyme disease meds at the time of his death. I thought about that during the testimony because you shouldn't even touch alcohol on that drug, which I believe is called Antabuse. Let's see. It's wild, Tatted TT says. That's why I think the drug dealers aren't that telling here. Kouri's actions are telling. Okay. So much evidence yet to come. Yes. How does a bank allow $300,000 overdraft to go through? I'll say this. They do it for the rich folks. They don't do it for the poor folks. There's no way in hell you'd ever be allowed to get to $300,000 if you don't have a lot of money. I'll say that. I've never overdrafted. Oh my God. Patrish said, I've never overdrafted one time in my life. I can't imagine. Oh, geez. I wish I could be like that. I wish I could be like you, Patrish. Let's see. Will Grossman take the stand? Have we heard from him yet? I don't know. I hope so. Grossman is the boyfriend. I would assume so. I do not like the background. I'm sorry. It reminds me of a shower stall, but I'm a fan of you. Oh my God. Okay. So you guys like my bedroom better? I just feel weird about being in my bedroom. Like, it's just strange to me because Rebecca's got her like professional background. I was trying to be professional. Background looks like a cheap hotel shower. Oh, Jesus. What am I going to do? His family's wealth probably make the bank think it would be covered. Yeah, maybe. Yes. Cynthia, yes. Me. Anyone get the ick from the sister Katie's relationship with Eric? I get the ick about that. And I also get the ick about the way that Katie testified. Like, it really bothered me. The way that it was so easy for her to spin a narrative and really try to sell that to the jury. There wasn't a lot. I mean, there was some, she was a little bit anxious and she was a little bit like self-conscious, but not enough. You know what I mean? Oh, there's Ruby snoring. My shallow TC nerd said, my shallow side wonders if Kouri has had a nose job. I don't know. I mean, I think a lot of people think she's very attractive too. Do you guys have thoughts and opinions on that? I mean, there's like this thing that's called, what is it called? The pretty tax, something like that, where people judge you sometimes if you are pretty, and then people don't judge you because you're pretty. I don't know. My husband calls her shifty. She moves her eyes, but not her head. Why did Eric need Kouri when he had his other wife? Oops, I mean sister. Ooh, damn. Damn, Cynthia. Yeah, agreed. It's obvious Katie and her husband disliked Kouri before Eric's death. And I think that's because of what Eric was telling Katie. I mean, I don't think it's weird that siblings talk about their sex lives together, even if they are female, male. That it doesn't matter to me. I think that if you're close to your sibling, you talk about things. There's only one male cousin in my family, and I'm the oldest of the cousins, and all of my cousins are like my siblings because that's how we, we're brought up. So my cousin Ty, who's 10 years younger than me, I kind of like helped raise him, and I taught him a lot of things. I taught him how to drive. I taught him how to tie his shoes. I taught him how to play soccer. He's like my little buddy. We have definitely talked about sex lives before. I don't find that strange, I don't know. I think this is a good point. Kayla says, I think she had false memories based on her hatred. Absolutely. Skates Days says she could have genuinely forgotten that quick hug. Agreed. Totally agree that Katie could have forgotten the hug between herself and Kouri. But the way that she framed it with Kouri being put together, her hair done, looking good. I think she said something about makeup. Like, she was trying to tell the jury that Kouri didn't give a shit that Eric had died. And I don't think that's the case. And I think that she was painting a false narrative. Looking at the jury is super cringe. Agreed. I mean, I understand why experts do it, and I understand why investigators, cops, and I understand to some extent why character witnesses do it, but the way she was doing it was so strange to me. And I don't think she had a fancy sweatsuit. No, she did not. She was wearing PJs. Yeah, Jennifer says, sister seemed very judgmental with how she thought Kouri should have acted in her grief based on what the sister, was feeling. Clearly two different people and temperaments. Abso-fucking-lutely. Will there be a dance t-shirt? I am working on it. The issue is the logo doesn't look great on black, so I've got to put it on a different color. And then I don't really need to get into this with y'all, but it's a square design. So if I take the background out of it, so it's just the dance logo, it actually gets rid of the dancers. It's complicated. I'll figure it out. But yes, there will be a dance t-shirt. Okay. Let's see. Put up some artwork and stickers and stuff. I'm going to. This was just like, I just wanted to try it out today. You guys hate it though. Background cheap hotel shower, and you're coming off as a champion for an alleged murderer. Awesome. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Never a believer. It's exactly what I'm doing. You know me so well. I'm actually coming off as someone who is thinking about both sides, and also coming from a jury perspective that nothing has been proven yet. So I'm going to go ahead and wait for the facts and the evidence to happen before I go ahead and make a decision about who I think killed this guy or didn't kill this guy. But thanks for the comment. Pretty privileged. That's what it was. Tatted TT. Did you notice on police cam that Katie said, "Where are my boys?" Like, what the fuck? Oh, that is strange. Where are my boys? Like, as in Kouri and Eric's kids? Oh, that's weird. Romedo said they are super close to their sister. Do you also talk about your sex lives? um, yeah. Oh, that's a good point, Stephanie. I don't think Katie was lying. I think her memory, like everyone's memories, has been affected by the things she's learned since then and her feelings for Kouri. Agreed completely. Yeah. I think that happens. It's our confirmation bias. It's cognitive dissonance. It's, you know, cognitive bias. It's all that. Okay. Yes, it does. Well, walk the dog. This is a good point. It says walk the dog also means explaining a complex plan. Um, that is true. And then tail wagging the dog means you are building something before you know it's going to happen to get everyone ready for it. Let's see. Just remember, you are a summer, Mel. I still don't know what that means, you guys. For anyone who watched the Nightline special, I am like, oh my God, I looked awful. I looked awful in that yellow sweater. I wish I'd never agreed to it. Ugh. Anyway. Oh my God, can I have glitter? Do you mean my backdrop? My backdrop. Well, I don't know if I want to do glitter because if I do glitter, then there's going to be glitter all over this bedroom all the time. And I don't think that's a great idea. Ew, Cynthia. Cynthia's making so many good points that, ugh. Cynthia says, it wasn't the sex talk that bothered me. It was the making of Eric's acupuncture appointments and how Eric, quote, always called me when he was sick, even if he was out of country because I made him feel better. Blech. Okay. Oh, I know, Rob. I know. I saw this comment that you posted on Facebook that Rob likes the 90s style of the t-shirt design. So it has like a little small logo up here and then a full size thing on the back. And that I didn't even think about it. I went ahead and designed those t-shirts that way because that's the only thing that's in my brain about t-shirts because I was a teenager in the 90s. Yep. So I love it too. Some of us care about the court system and whether or not it works. Just saying. I agree with that. Yep. Me too. I like a fair trial and all that. Imagine if I'm not saying Kouri didn't do it. There's a lot of evidence against her. This doesn't seem great for her. But imagine if you didn't do it and this is what the case looked like. Like, shouldn't we get to the bottom of that and make sure that we got the right person going to prison for the rest of their lives? Just my thoughts. Memory is fluid and complex. Faux show. Yeah, that is what it means. It means like basically you put out this little story that is going to make the big story, which is coming, much bigger. TC nerd. Yes, I agree. Okay, let's get back to it. We are going to go into day 2 now. Oh God, we're only on day 2 for fuck's sake. I got to start talking faster or something. Okay. Let me make sure I hit. There were a couple of things that I wanted to talk about though. Yeah. Oh, I wanted to talk about, so the defense they obviously impeached Katie. They also, one of the other things they highlighted in Katie and the the dad's testimony and Katie's husband's testimony was that the Richins family had invested $100,000 in a private investigator, framing their involvement, sort of, they were like pushing for a specific conviction rather than trying to get to the truth of what happened. So that could be their confirmation bias of how they felt about Kouri before Eric died. So, and then let's get into day 2. Day 2 was interesting. It was weird. Yeah, it was really strange. Let's see. Okay. Day 2. Sorry, I just have to find my notes. So Kita's testimony in day 2 was the medical examiner, Pamela Sue Ulmer, Dr. Pamela Sue Ulmer. She confirmed lethal levels of fentanyl in Eric's system. She also found, oh God, I forgot how to pronounce this. My stomach is rumbling. I guess I'm hungry. Quetiapine pine. Oh God, now I have to look it up. How do you pronounce? There it is. Quetiapine. Quetiapine. She found quetiapine, which was not prescribed to Eric, and extensive toxicology. Now, what is quetiapine? Quetiapine, or Seroquel, that's much easier to pronounce, is a second-generation antipsychotic medication primarily used to treat schizophrenia, bipolar, both manic and depressive episodes, and is an add-on treatment for major depressive disorder. Where'd that come from? Why was that there? On the critical question of manner of death, she testified she had options: natural, accidental, suicidal, homicide, or undetermined. And while a fentanyl overdose was clear to her, she couldn't really categorize it as homicide without knowing how the drug got into his body or got into his system. And then next up was Deputy Vincent Nguyen. So they played his body cam footage, and Richins, in the body cam footage, Kouri is like folding her arms, pacing, offering explanations of possible chest pains and the gummies, the THC gummies that she says Eric took before knowing the cause of death. This is where the defense started to lay out like whether the death could have been accidental or was due to contaminated street drugs. So, I mean, their take is going to be either he took THC gummies or some other kind of pill and it was accidental, or the pills or the drugs that he picked up in Mexico might have been laced with fentanyl. That's the defense's theory. We know what the prosecution thinks happened here. Okay, let me bring up day 2. So there were a couple things that happened on day 2 that were just like a little cringy. The defense used Nguyen's, so I'm going to call him Vincent because I don't want to mispronounce his name. Deputy Vincent. They used his own body cam footage to show that he actually never went into the kitchen where these 2 drinks were supposedly sitting, allegedly drinking, that the prosecution is saying that's how the fentanyl got into his system. If the medical examiner doesn't understand how the drugs got into Eric's system, the prosecution is coming up with what they think. They are positing. It is not, so far, it's not factual how the drugs got into Eric's system. But they are saying that it was transferred into Eric's system, or transmitted, or whatever you want to call it, by way of the Moscow mules. But Deputy Vincent never went into the kitchen, and then those Moscow mules disappeared. And he also failed to secure a pill bottle on Eric's nightstand. He admitted that his camera didn't capture every area of the home. So, and this is the defense's job here. They are supposed to suggest that critical evidence may have been overlooked because the investigators didn't do their job. So the defense also got out of the medical examiner that the manner of death was initially it was listed as unknown or could not be determined. And they questioned white specks that were seen on Eric's nightstand and why they were never tested for fentanyl residue. That was a big point, I thought. Let's see if I think I have day 2. Let's see if we can get a little bit of color from the courtroom for day 2. Hold on, let me see what you guys are up to first. Okay. How unlucky for Kouri that she put the family in horrendous debt. She was having an affair, dreaming of her husband being gone, and then he dies of an illicit drug overdose with no evidence of addiction. Yep. That's what Skates Days says. I like the skepticism, but not the trad wife hatred. What do you mean by that, TC nerd? Are you talking to me or the audience, or who are you talking to? And what are you talking about? Oh, sweetie, no. I love that. Oh, I think she probably did it. Their case or their presentation of it just sucks thus far. Agreed. I think that's the problem. But in our country, if you don't convince a jury that you have a solid case and that there's no reasonable doubt, then that person is considered acquitted. So we'll see what happens. The private investigator was hired after Kouri sued them over the estate. Interesting. That's what TC Nerd says. Yeah. Was that prescribed to Kouri? If not, where did it come from? That's what I want to know too, Tata TT. Seroquel can be used for insomnia also, Romido says. Romido, did you change your profile picture? Sam Beningo. Did I do it right? Sam Beningo? Because I usually say Sam Beningo. Did a whole deep dive on that drug and what it could have been doing in his system. I saw that. Some people disagreed with Sam on that one. If you feel inclined, go watch it. I'd like to hear your opinion. Easy guilty verdict, TB Mango Rock says. So you have I just want to clarify. TB Mango Rock's easy guilty verdict. Does that mean that after a week of testimony and evidence, you have already, if you were on the jury, you would already think that Kouri Richins is guilty? Let me know. Cynthia said, pretty sure you can get Seroquel in the street since lots of drug abusers are prescribed that when detoxing. Kouri had a prescription for Seroquel. Interesting. Do we know that for sure, Romido? Yes, prescribed to Kouri. Okay. I did change my pic. I wanted to show my little Chiquita. Let me see your little Chiquita. Oh my goodness. Look at that little Chihuahua. I love dogs. Thank you guys for putting your dogs in your profile pics. It makes me happy. Should we say hi to Ruby? Rubes, you want to say hi to the people? Come here, Bubba. Oh, my sleepy dog. She is so floppy when she's sleepy. I know you're so sleepy. I'm sorry I woke you up. Say hi to everybody, though. We got to say hi to everybody. Look at her. She's like, can we just go back to sleep now? Is it almost dinner time? Do you know that I love you? Do you know? Can you hear me? Do you speak English? It doesn't matter if you speak English. Maybe you speak Spanish. I love you. Okay. Back to sleep, Bubba. It was treated as an unexplained death until autopsy, right? So I wonder how in-depth the investigation should have been the night of. Hope that makes sense. I feel like it changed after the fentanyl. I think that it was an unexplained death, but honestly, it was also an unaccompanied death. And is that the right term for it? Because Kouri wasn't in the room when he died. Kouri was, from what she says, she was in the room with her son. So if somebody just died in the bed, I feel like they should probably be investigating it a little bit more. I feel like anytime that there is a death, you need to start looking around for evidence. And maybe that's not protocol, but if they had, we wouldn't be in this situation. If somebody had picked up those Moscow mules and tested it, we would know the answer. But because they didn't, we don't have an answer. I mean, but that's twofold. I said this the other day. If she meant to kill him with fentanyl and she put it in the Moscow mules, why would she leave it half full in the sink? So either she cleaned out the glasses and remade the drink to make it look like it, was whatever it was, or she's a dumbass. If she was trying to kill him and she left the fentanyl Moscow mule in the sink, it doesn't make any sense to me. Why would it be in the Moscow mule? Why wouldn't it be in the food? Why wouldn't it be in other drugs he was taking? Hell, she could have put it in the gummies. Who fucking knows? But the problem is that they didn't investigate it, so we don't know. Will we ever know? I don't know. Okay. Let's get back to, we are on to day 3. So this is where we started getting into crime scene. I mean, we're moving on still with crime scene technicians. The defense spotlighted procedural gaps. So, I mean, a lot of procedural gaps. And this is their job, right? This is what they're supposed to do. Just because the cops didn't, again, they didn't think it was a murder scene. They didn't think it was a crime scene. So they weren't doing a full investigation the night that they came to the house, right? So parts of the house were not photographed: the kitchen, the sink, the closets. The defense was also sort of questioning whether those Moscow Mule glasses were ever tested. They weren't. They weren't tested. They were thrown in the dishwasher the next day. So the defense was really like they were cross-examining investigators to introduce ambiguity. They were trying to make the jury see that it wasn't thoroughly investigated, right? Meh. It wasn't that strong. Let's take a look at day 3. Do I want to do day 3? Yeah, day 4 and day 5 are the ones that are very interesting. Let's take a look at day 3 real quick. We're just going to do a little video again. Day 3? Is that day 3? No, that's day 2. Day 3. Okay. Sorry, I'm talking to myself. Okay. Add to the stage. Play.
And where was the quetiapine bottle found?
It was in one of the baskets that was in that linen closet in the master bathroom.
Okay. So what happened to the hydrocodone bottle that was sent with the body of the decedent?
It's under the medical examiner's office protocol to keep that until they're done.
So you don't have that bottle?
I do not know.
So all we have is a picture of that bottle?
Correct.
So it has never been taken for testing by you to anyone?
Correct.
So if there was fentanyl residue in that empty pill bottle from 2016, we won't know it because you never took it to be tested, right?
I was never given the bottle, no.
Where there was a little dot above the refrigerator where you said that some gummies in a clear plastic bag were found, right?
Correct.
And you didn't go above the kitchen and open that cabinet and take any pictures that morning?
No, I did not.
Since you were personally the one who knows where every single thing was found, isn't it true that all the gummies, with the exception of the gummies that were found in the jacket and the closet,
A lot of gummies,
were all stored high up where children would not be able to reach them?
I believe so, yes.
You mentioned when you were describing paraphernalia that you did not see any paraphernalia that day. Is that right?
The day of the death?
Yes.
Correct.
And you mentioned paraphernalia is things that we might be familiar with, which would be like bongs or vape pens or scales or little baggies you would put drugs in or something like that, right?
Correct.
Things that would store drugs.
Correct.
In your experience, when you've been to scenes, have you experienced where people put pills in different bottles than what the bottle actually says they are when they're illicit drugs?
You're talking about like prescription bottles? Mm-hmm. Yes.
So if you saw an empty prescription bottle near the body that had expired 6 years before, could that possibly be paraphernalia? If it was used to store illicit drugs?
If it was used to store illicit drugs, it could be considered.
Okay, thank you.
So obviously what they're talking about there is the bottle that had the expiration date of 2016 on it. I mean, I know I have like ibuprofen bottles. So when you have any kind of like surgery or you have any kind of muscle pain and the doc prescribes you 800 milligrams of ibuprofen, which is normally like 4 regular ibuprofen pills that you would buy over the counter. So they're a little bit stronger and it's the max dose you can take. I have bottles that I never finished because I didn't need to. And I have them. They're probably like 10 years old. I mean, this is what we do as human beings. But some people, and then there's like my partner, Lindsay, when she travels, when she takes her meds with her, she'll take all of her meds that she needs. And instead of putting them in like the little Monday through, like Saturday to Sunday pill snappy things, she just puts them all in one like old bottle that she's had forever. So who knows? The fact is they didn't do a great investigation and that's why we don't know. So let me just go through. Let's see. Hey, Amanda. Everybody say hi, Amanda. And we love Amanda because Amanda does our time code, our chapters, and our stamps for us in every episode. And I am super appreciative of her. And also, Amanda, I designed that cup you asked me for in the merch store. This was kind of an impromptu live, but it was a little bit scheduled because I knew I wanted to do the recap today before we get into the live day-by-day trial starting tomorrow. So yeah, here we are. I'm glad you're here. Gabby said the 911 call was sus as fuck. The 15 minutes before calling. Yeah. So one of the things that definitely stands out to me, if you don't know, is that um I don't know how this is determined actually. Maybe we'll get into this more, but it has been determined somehow that Kouri waited 15 minutes to call 911 upon finding Eric in the bed. That is always suspect in my opinion. Um Let's see. Cynthia says, my son is a recovering opioid addict and said that fentanyl tastes horribly nasty. So for him to ingest that much, it would have to be something really sweet, strong to hide it. Interesting. When did she take out the, Jen says, when did she take out the insurance policies? And do we know for sure that she did it without the family's knowledge? What I understand is that they have proof that she forged Eric's name. So it sounds to me like she did that behind their back. Okay. So Amanda, everyone hates my background. Amanda comes in and she's like, love the new background. Everyone here hates it for the most part. A lot of meds expire a lot later than people think. That is true. Rob and Amanda, love you all. Hi, Amanda. Thanks for your service. Jen says, thank you for your service, Amanda. We love you. Appreciate you. All right, let's get back to that was day 3. Let's go into day 4. This is where it gets real crazy, y'all. Day 4, the prosecution's main witness, the only witness, I think, was Carmen Lauber, the housekeeper who supplied Kouri with the drugs 4 times in early 2022 at Kouri's request. Lauber is a complicated witness. There's a lot going on there. Lauber said the initial requests from Kouri were vague, that she was looking for drugs for an investor. Then later, Kouri asked for something stronger, which Lauber, I'm going to call her Carmen, not Lauber, which Carmen sourced through contacts and later buried at the property. After Eric's death, she said she was really worried and she called Kouri and she said, please tell me those pills were not for him. And Kouri allegedly told her that Eric died of a brain aneurysm, which I know a lot of people bring that point up about the brain aneurysm, like she's trying to make something out of it. That's what Eric's mom died of, apparently, allegedly. And that is what the EMT said to her on the scene. So if that's what she was told by a medical professional, that's what she went with. I mean, that is if she is innocent of this crime. If she is not innocent of this crime, then she's using that to have a story. During the defense's cross, which was so painful, the lawyers were kind of assholes. The attorneys were assholes to Carmen. They highlighted her own addiction history, her jail time, and her coaching, her alleged coaching by investigators, which I did take major issue with. And I'm going to bring that out more in notes in just a minute. They were bringing up the binders to the witness box and being like, here are your prior interviews and here's where all your interviews and your testimony is really inconsistent. But this is the day that the defense really introduced like this sort of central argument over how and whether fentanyl was obtained and who is credible here, right? So we're going to get into more people. Day 5 was, as far as I'm concerned, even more explosive. Day 4, they really were like, it was painful because this woman who took the stand is in recovery. She is, in the program. She is no longer doing drugs. She's getting her life together. She made a lot of bad choices and a lot of mistakes when she was a drug addict. And that includes getting drugs for Kouri Richins. And I think it's also, caused some memory loss, that kind of stuff. I don't like how she was treated. We've talked about that. I don't like it at all. Let me see if I can pull up. That's day 2. That is day 3. And that is day 4. Let's take a look at day 4. I think there's some testimony in here. Is that right? We listened to the 911 call. Okay, let me bring up day 4. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look at Court TV's day 4. Oh man, toggling back and forth. Whew. Gotta figure out what page I'm on, where I'm supposed to be looking. Okay.
So we first perform a broad drug screen that looks for hundreds of different drugs. And then based on those results, if there's any positive findings, then we will perform a second confirmation test that's more specific and sensitive for that drug or drug class.
And in this case, what did you find in the confirmatory test?
Fentanyl and norfentanyl.
What is norfentanyl?
Norfentanyl is a metabolite of fentanyl, so it's inactive, it doesn't cause any effects, but it just shows that some fentanyl has been metabolized to norfentanyl.
Are you testifying pursuant to several grants of immunity?
Yes.
Do you understand that they require you, in order to avoid criminal exposure, they require you to testify today truthfully?
Yes.
Do they require you to testify today fully?
Yes.
Did Kouri Richins ever ask you to purchase for her illicit drugs?
Yes.
How many times?
4.
Did you purchase illicit drugs for her?
Yes.
Look
How
at
many
Kouri.
times?
4.
Let's please begin with the first purchase of drugs for Kouri Richins. How did Kouri Richins
Kouri's
approach
face
you about
interesting to me.
purchasing drugs?
She had reached out and asked if I could do her a favor, and I said, yeah, probably, what is it? And then she had called me and asked me if I could reach out to somebody for some pay meds for an investor that she knew.
Did Kouri Richins front you money for the drugs?
No, she did not. I had given Susan the money.
Okay, how much money?
$600.
What type of drug did you ask Susan Kohler for on Kouri Richins' behalf?
Just some kind of painkiller, an opiate.
What in return did Susan Kohler give you?
And a couple hours later, she returned back to my house with an envelope full of pills. And then I had texted Kouri and told her that I had got some pills for her and asked her what she wanted me to do with them. Told me she would, it was late when Susan returned, so she showed up in my driveway the next morning.
Did you hand Kouri Richins the pills that next morning in your driveway?
Yes,
Did she give you any money for those pills?
yes. She gave me back the $600 that I put up for them.
Let's talk about the second time that you purchased drugs for Kouri Richins. How did Kouri Richins approach you on that purchase?
She had reached out to me in text message and said that her investor needed or wanted something stronger.
Investor.
And I kind of told her, well, I can reach out to the people I don't know. You just can't say, hey, this is what I'm looking for. When you're buying drugs off the street, you pretty much purchase what you get.
Ms. Lauber, do you see there blown up out of 3-3 where it says, text me, I got a question and won't do it on this?
Yes,
Did you send that message by Facebook to Ms. Cummings?
yes. I was going to ask her if she knew anybody that had any pills. I had texted Kouri back and told her that I had a friend that could get them, but they were fentanyl pills.
How did Kouri Richins respond?
She said, okay, go ahead and get them.
Let me make sure I understand. Kouri Richins said she would leave you $1,000 at a small house in Midway.
Yes.
Okay, so that was direct. That wasn't what I was looking for, but that it's all very interesting. Let me see if I have the cross. The cross was that was so messy. I'm trying not to do like I guess I could do Larry Foreman. Oh, let's just do this is like a 1.5 minute video to give you
Kouri
an idea.
Richins, she never did ask you for fentanyl, correct?
No, I had told her what Robbie had. She said, okay, go ahead and get the fentanyl.
That's your testimony today?
I think she's a
Yes,
difficult
she did
witness.
ask. When I told her what I had, that's what she said, yes.
That's the first time you've said that, though, right?
No,
You told them that Kouri never asked for fentanyl?
In jail, or now I'm confused.
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
You told authorities during the course of these interviews that Kouri Richins never asked for fentanyl.
Here's where it gets interesting.
And you kept telling them during this interview that you got Roxy's.
Roxy.
The ones from Susan Kohler, yes.
Sorry about the sound. It's bad.
They tell you that you got fentanyl for Kouri Richins, correct?
The cops tell her.
No, when I would reach out to Nicole Cummings, she would reach out to Robbie. Robbie's one that told me that he can give fentanyl.
That's your recollection today.
Yes.
That wasn't your recollection then, though. Kouri Richins, she never.
Okay, so that's fabulous. Interesting. There was a little bit more that I wanted to show you. Yeah. We're going to go ahead and get into, this is the one I wanted to show you.
Selling it.
We love some Emily D. Baker. This is, I'm not going to play this whole video for you, but let me do the playback speed a little bit higher. I'm not going to play the whole video for you, but I do want you to see a little bit more of the cross of Carmen, and then moving into day 5, what we're dealing with in the actual drug dealer who got the drugs for Carmen and for Kouri, and how craziness, but he recanted his original statement about the fentanyl. I thought this was a very big hole that was sort of blown open by the defense. So, okay. But before I do that, let me put this comment on the screen. Despite the look on my face says, I don't think Carmen was being difficult. The attorney was intentionally vague and jumping around to try to confuse her. I don't think Carmen was being difficult, but I also don't believe that the attorney was intentionally being vague. I think that it was very confusing. I think the problem is that Carmen has changed her statements so many times because the investigators have been pressuring her, because Carmen is looking at a lot of jail time if she doesn't get this right. And they put that pressure on her, and that is a lot to have to deal with, especially if you're having memory loss because of your drug use or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's very confusing because statements have changed so much over the course of 4 years. That's my opinion. But I do see what you're saying despite the look on my face. I do feel like they could have, Romado says, I do feel like they could have impeached Carmen without putting her through all of that embarrassing testimony. Agreed. I think I'm not defending the attorneys here because I don't like the way that they treated her either. I think they were trying to show the jury that she's an unreliable witness. And unfortunately, she's the prosecution's star witness, which is not great. The number of likes for today's show better be wrong. Come on, guys. Mel is spending her time with us. Hit the likes. Oh my gosh. You are very, very, very sweet. Thanks for saying that, Skates Days. And yeah, if you can go and like the feed, that would be super helpful. We're probably going to be here for at least another half hour, 45 minutes. This is probably going to be the longest feed I've done so far just because there's so much to go through. And I really am trying to take my time and not rush through it. So if you can go and like the video. Thank you. Yeah, their job is to do that. They don't care if they embarrass her. Agreed. I think they care to some extent, but at the same time, they are fighting for their client who is facing life in prison. Oh, right, Ruby? Jeez. Seems Berkshire BS Litchfield cunty liars or city liars, not sure, but I choose to say cunty. I hope I'm right. Seems to me like they went to every drug user or a person they pulled over for DWI and are threatening them to talk about stuff that they may not even know about or did. Yeah. I think that the cops were really kind of douchebags in this case to these drug addicts, unfortunately. So they had weak people, and by weak, I don't mean that these people are weak. They are weak because they are in a position because the cops have leverage over them. The investigators have leverage over them, and they used all of these people to convict this woman. Now, this woman might be guilty and those people might be able to convict her based on the knowledge they have, but to threaten these people with jail time or to threaten them with other things, I'm just like, can we stop doing this, please? Can we get honest commitment from witnesses without having to be like, I'm coming after you, or you're going to spend a lot of time in jail. I'm going to read some of the quotes to you. And it's really just bullshit. Okay. Sorry, I got all pissy there for a second. Let's listen to what Emily has for a second. But Emily covers the cross-examination of Carmen in day 4, and then it moves into Robert Crozier on day 5. And Robert Crozier is the drug dealer who actually supplied the drugs, who has recanted his previous statements, which is, if you ask me, situations like this, a witness is recanting what they already said, their previous statements. That's cause for a mistrial, which is maybe why they're filing one tomorrow. Okay.
Your Honor, the state calls Robert Crozier.
Oh, it's February 27, 2026, and we are on day 5,739. Or day 5 of the Kouri Richins trial. I have been waiting for this trial forever. And
I love you, Emily.
So far, it has been completely unanticipated. The wildness that is this trial has been unanticipated. I don't know what I expected, but it was not this. I guess I expected some level of like normalcy in the courtroom. I did not expect the level of popping off that we have seen in this case. I definitely didn't expect the level of clapping back at the judge, which is surprising. And yesterday, the judge was just like, we're not doing that. Don't do that. And I feel like that's what we're all going to be saying to ourselves today, though I remain optimistic that maybe today's the day that things just like slip back into normalcy and we don't get all of the popping off. But the judge has been so patient.
Spoiler, no. Okay, let's get into it.
Confusing.
The whole time of what we're talking about here, the time period of January, February, March of 2022, as we talked about yesterday, you were using consistently during that time period.
Not consistently, no. Off and on.
Well, we went over drug tests yesterday where you were having positive drug tests.
Excuse me, Miss Lewis. We have watched more than our fair share of reunions and reality TV, receipts, screenshots, timeline. If she got clocked trying to use literally OPP, there would be receipts from court.
Once or twice a week?
In the beginning of drug court, yes.
And all the way through March of 22?
All right, let's skip
No, I
through
was
some of
due
this.
to graduate.
What I was looking for.
Probably 3 months when I got arrested, so it was not.
This poor woman.
All right, so then you talk more about that Kouri asked for the Michael Jackson drug. And that's when you told her, well, it's not a pharmacy. I don't know what you want. I can't just...
Okay, just to clarify for the record, Kouri was asking for the Michael Jackson drug. So there was no label of fentanyl on that. And Carmen didn't know what she was talking about, had to Google it. Kouri was, I think, just looking for something strong. We don't really know what it was.
Can't just go get you a stronger dose of pills, correct?
Correct.
All right. But the first pills you gave her were prescription oxycodone, correct?
From Susan Kohler?
Yes, correct. From Susan Kohler.
Because she jumped back in time, right?
You asked Mr. Crozier for Roxy 30s, correct?
I don't recall if that's exactly what I asked for.
Well, we talked about that yesterday.
I said blues. Blues or...
And she said blues yesterday.
Or an opiate pain pill.
All right. Yesterday you testified you asked for Roxy 30s or blues.
No, she didn't. You said she asked for Roxy 30s. She said she asked for blues, and she stuck to it. You said she asked for it. She never said that.
Call her out, Emily.
Remember that? Yes, from yesterday?
I remember.
I'm not sure that's accurate.
Misstates. Oh, shit.
I can go back and find it, I guess.
She said blues. She consistently said blues. You tried to make fetch happen. And when the court's like, that's not my memory either, it's a problem.
Yesterday you testified you asked for Roxy 30s
You
or
tried
blues.
to make fetch
Remember that? Yes, from yesterday?
I'm not sure that's accurate.
I'm not either.
Mm-hmm.
Foundation.
Now it's
Back and find it,
confusing.
I guess, but that is accurate.
No, it's not. She said blues
all
or
right, let me
blues.
find it.
I think the difference is whether, to be a little bit specific here, she testified to that yesterday or acknowledged having said it in a prior interview.
That's fair. Yesterday you acknowledged that you had told Mr. Crozier that you wanted Roxy 30s or blues.
No, she said pain
We
pills.
found that page number yesterday, and you acknowledged that, yes, that is what you had said at the time. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Okay.
She's like, I don't even fucking
So
know.
the point is,
Yeah.
Because you're spinning in
Roxy
circles.
30s, 30 milligram oxycodone, are a stronger variety of oxycodone than what you would typically get in prescription, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you could get her something stronger and still get her oxycodone, correct?
I think it's
I'm not
confusing. I think it's all
understanding the
confusing.
All right.
No
They're
one
trying to
knows
make it
what's
look less
going on.
bad that Kouri said, I'm going to need something stronger. She's just trying to make it look less bad. Well, we are going to zoom through the morning recess because as the week conversation in my office, I imagine this one
Let's get to
not round.
They ask you, is it possible you bought pills a total of 4 times? Once from Susan, 3 times from Crozier. Do you recall that?
I don't recall that.
Okay. Let's look at page 13.
She could just ask leading questions and say, didn't you tell detectives this and didn't you tell detectives this? But she's not organized enough and she keeps misstating the questions.
Mm.
So the witness is like, well, that's not exactly what it says. So even the leading questions aren't working in cross because she keeps getting it wrong.
He asked you if there's a 4th trip, correct?
Correct.
And you said absolutely not. There were only 3, correct?
Correct.
All right.
Are they talking about a 4th purchase from Crozier? Because if they're talking about a 4th purchase from Crozier, then no. If they're talking about a 4th purchase in total, then yes. But if we're talking about Nick and Crozier, then yeah, there were only 3.
And then you've told them again in that interview,
But she said there were 4.
know totally there were only 3 total purchases. Do you recall that?
I don't recall.
All right. It's page 29.
But who are we talking about?
So again, back on March 13th of 2023, I'm sorry, May 13th of 2023.
Right, I think those are all the Robbie ones.
More than once. Not 4 purchases. I know total 3 purchases for Kouri.
I mean, it's written on the paper.
2-3 times, correct?
Yes.
You told that to Ms. Whistler with U.S. Attorney's Office 2 days prior, correct? We talked about that.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. But today you're saying there were 4 purchases.
Correct.
So even though you were totally sure
That there were 3
in
trips.
2022 there were 3, the testimony now is that there were 4.
Yes.
Okay. So let me just ask you,
confusing,
when you
so
were very first
uncomfortable.
released, you put an ankle monitor on, you were released from the jail.
Which day?
Did you have to go see Judge Maybe, or were you just released and you already knew the conditions?
No, I think I had to go.
Okay, hold on. I just want to address a couple of things in the comments. Using informants or anyone with an agenda is always a shit show. Completely agree, despite the look on my face. See, I can't even say that because your screen name is a really good bookend to things that I'm saying. Next time it'll cost you you're hot, Karen. Karen, come on over. Have a drink. Have a Jameson and ginger, Karen. You're hot. And this is really funny to me because I have been in my brain, I've been saying this, that this person's screen name, which is Berkshire BS Litchfield CTY Liars. So I'm reading it as Berkshire BS Litchfield Cunty Liars. And it's actually county. I'm going to keep saying cunty. Is that okay? Let me know. It's not mistrial worthy. It's the jury's job to determine if this testimony was credible or not, what weight to give it. I'm talking about, are you talking about Carmen's testimony or Crozier's testimony? Because Crozier has recanted. So how confused must the jury be? Exactly. Are you confused? I was confused. Emily knows what's happening and is following it. I have a hard time following it, but here we are. All right, we're going to watch a little bit more of it.
I go in front of her.
Okay. So when you went back to Judge Maybe, she gave you some conditions of release, correct?
Yes.
And one thing they did is they transferred your probation from Wasatch County to Summit County, correct?
I think so, yes.
And your new probation officer became Detective Maynard, correct?
Yes.
All right. So he's now your probation officer.
Look at Emily.
I don't love that.
You testified yesterday that you only talked to him a few times after these interviews in May up until today.
I text him every morning, so I still have to check in with him.
Oh, all right. You didn't tell me that. So you text him every morning to check in with Detective Maynard.
Correct.
To tell him what?
I just have to send him a text saying good morning, and he responds back, Lauber, that's it.
Okay.
Does he work as a
Does he
probation
drug
officer?
test you?
A probation officer regularly?
How long did he continue to drug test you?
I don't recall.
Do you recall the last time you were drug tested?
No, I don't recall.
Has it been more than a year?
I'm sure.
Has it been more than 2 years?
I'm not 100% sure.
Could it be more than 2 years?
Yes.
So, Carmen, isn't it fair that you really don't have a memory about what happened in February and March of 2022?
What do you mean by that?
Well, when you were interviewed in 2023, you didn't remember what had happened, correct?
Correct. It's a lot to take in.
You didn't remember in 2023 what happened in 2022. And you don't now remember what happened in 2022.
I don't know
right?
about Maynard.
Yes and no.
It's been laid out for you by someone else, correct?
Due to data, cell phone data and everything, yes.
All right. So whatever memory you have is what was.
This is interesting. What the defense attorney is getting at is the investigators have been like sort of pushing her story along for her. And she references this several times through cell phone data, etc. So she is verifying her own story to herself by what's in her own phone. But the cops, it sounds like, the investigators, it sounds like, are pushing her in a certain direction to get her to the place that they need her to be. That's my take on it.
You don't have a personal memory. It was shown to you.
No, I have partial memory.
You have a partial memory.
I have memory, yes.
All right. Fair to say your memory was better 1 year after the fact than 4 years after the fact, right?
It is confusing later on, years later, yes.
And you were using and selling that whole time in drug court.
I was not using and selling the whole time.
The whole period we're talking about of February, March of 2022.
That's not what she said.
Yes.
Kouri never asked you for fentanyl, true?
I had told her that that's what Robbie had. And she said, okay, go ahead and get it.
Let me ask the question again. Kouri never
Okay.
Asked you for fentanyl, true?
Yes.
All right. And you bought prescription Oxycontin from Susan Kohler, correct?
Correct.
You got light green pills from Crozier.
Right. She didn't ask for
sometime
fentanyl.
in
She said,
February
okay.
2022, correct?
Correct.
And then you went back and said, give me more of the same, correct?
Correct.
After you said you were willing to cooperate, and they said you were getting a big jail get out of free card. You got your big jail get out of free card so far, right?
Correct.
Because you have not been in jail for the past 3 years.
Correct.
Correct.
And you haven't had to go to drug court anymore, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
And all you do is wait to see how your testimony goes to find out what happens, correct?
Correct.
You're not being drug tested, correct?
Correct.
Even though you're on probation,
There it
correct?
is.
Correct.
And your probation consists of, in the morning, you say hi to Detective Maynard and he says lobber.
We just text back and forth. If I'm leaving town, I tell him I'm leaving town. If I'm here,
Okay, so you tell him if you're leaving town.
I still keep tabs. He still keeps tabs on me no matter where I'm at. He has my work schedule. He has everything.
He does have your work schedule.
Yes.
And you've been allowed to move to Las Vegas, correct?
Yes.
The pills that you bought from Mr. Crozier, you don't know what those pills were, correct?
He had told me that he had fentanyl.
You didn't look at the pills, correct?
No, I didn't play with him. No.
You didn't know what they were, correct?
I didn't play with them.
Correct.
You didn't have them tested.
No.
Okay. You didn't take any, you said.
No.
Correct.
Correct.
She
You didn't.
Did
You
she
did or
give
you
them
did
to
not sell
anybody?
them to anyone else?
I did not sell them to anyone else.
Okay. You don't know what happened to those pills, correct?
I don't know who picked him up, but that's what you're asking.
Right. You don't know who took those pills, correct?
Correct.
And you have, sitting here today, absolutely no information about what happened to Eric Richins other than that what you were told that he died of a fentanyl.
She wasn't there.
Correct.
And you have no idea what happened the night that Eric Richins died.
I do not.
And you have no knowledge if Ms. Richins killed Eric Richins.
I do not.
Miss Lauber at bottom.
Okay. So a couple of things I want to talk about here. Hold on a second. We're going to keep sharing the screen for now. Give me a second. Sorry. I'm just trying to find this one thing that I had highlighted, which I found very interesting. Okay. So Wendy Lewis, the defense attorney, this is where she was like bringing up the binders, 932 pages long, just dropping it on the thing and being like, did you say this? Did you say this? The defense got out of Carmen that she initially told police that Kouri had asked for oxycodone only, and she changed her story to fentanyl after being granted immunity. That's what the defense got out during this cross-examination. Carmen also admitted to regular meth use. She was a drug addict. That's what was going on. And the jury, this was what she was just talking about with the big giant get out of jail free card. The jury also viewed a recorded interview where a detective told Carmen that she needed to provide ready for this, quote, details that will ensure Kouri gets convicted of murder in exchange for, quote, a big giant get out of jail free card. Fucked up. What were they thinking of? Investigators are supposed to say to witnesses like Carmen, just tell us the truth. All we want is the truth. We just need to get to the truth. Not give us something that will ensure that this whore of a wife who killed her husband gets convicted of murder. And if you do that for us, well, you don't have to go to jail for any of the shit that you've done. No. That is not how this is supposed to work. Ugh. All right, let me check the chat here. Tell the room if we get 50 likes, you'll do a Higgins impression. All right. I don't even know if I'm going to get, I don't even know where I can't see the likes because I'm here with you all and you guys have to go look at the channel. Maynard is another straight bear. I hope he isn't evil. I don't know a lot about Maynard, but we got lots of straight bears in these cases. No piss test for 2 years. We're at 75. Oh shit. All right. Here's a suggestion. Somebody give me a line and I'll read it in Higgins' voice. I will randomly choose one of your comments. Okay, let's get back to this. Okay, let us move into Crozier is where I think I want to go with this. Yeah, right here. This is Robert Cozier, Robbie. And he's the actual drug dealer that got the drugs for Carmen and Kouri. Ready? Hmm. Interesting. It is. Mhm. Hmm. Hmm. Cha-ching. Mm. Mm. Mhm. Oh, no. Oh, I'm just sitting here watching it. You guys can't see it. Great.
Because everybody was scared of
What
fentanyl
about
in
now?
early 2022
Okay, let me
and 21. You know,
So
it's all over
stupid.
the
Let me
news.
go
People were
back. Hold
dying,
on.
and everybody
Sorry,
was.
guys.
It was kind of hard to get.
Sorry.
And
I was, like,
people
all
were
into this
selling it.
testimony.
If Ms. Carmen Lauber testified that you told her, these are fentanyl pills, I'm selling you fentanyl
My
pills, would
bad.
that be true?
It's not
I mean,
what she
if I
said.
said it to her, then it would be true. But I don't know that I said that to her.
Or were you
Okay.
selling her fentanyl pills?
I don't believe so. No.
Okay. And let's go over that again. Because I know this was
What do you mean, let's go over that again? She did not like that answer. That's not the answer she wanted. So let's try that again. Better answer, please. Better
I know.
answer.
because I know
You guys
this
are
was
just
you were
listening to
using
my
it.
responses.
But why was it that you remembered that in 2022, early 2022, you were selling oxycodone and not fentanyl?
Because everybody was scared of fentanyl in early 2022 and in 21. You know, it's all over the news and people were dying, and everybody was. It was kind of hard to get, and people were scared of getting it. And like I testified, I had people that had prescriptions. I had my own prescription, and we sold those.
When you said you had a prescription and you knew people had prescriptions, are you talking about oxycodone?
Yes.
Do you remember the milligrams of your prescription?
Mine were 10s at that time.
10s. Did
Yeah.
you sell any of those to Carmen Lauber?
No.
Okay, so you sold somebody else's prescription.
Yes.
And the pills you sold were actually prescription pills from a pharmacy?
Yes.
When Mr. Bertram and I, you didn't type this affidavit, right?
No, I did not.
And Mr. Bertram and I brought these up to you, correct?
Mhm.
And we
Yes.
read them to you, correct?
Yes.
And you made some corrections, correct?
Mhm.
Well, I think you had the pen, but yes.
You told me some
Yes.
corrections to make and I made them correct.
Yes.
And then you signed them, correct?
Oh,
Yes.
looking at the
But
jury.
at that time, let me rephrase that. Then later, you were given an attorney, correct?
Yes.
And Ms. Letkins.
Mhm.
And
Okay.
Yes.
and Ms. Letkins went over these with you again later, correct? The affidavits.
Okay.
Oh, look at him.
I don't remember if she did or not. I mean, I went from meeting with you from jail and then going to treatment. I was in 7th Street treatment.
Wait,
at
you
the
met
time.
with defense while you were still in custody too?
I know that we talked about him.
You and Ms. Letkins.
I don't know if we went over it line by line like we just did, but I know that we talked about him.
Do you recall telling Ms. Letkins there's a mistake in these?
Does Miss Letkins work with you, Miss Lewis?
It says Oxycontin and it's supposed to be oxycodone.
Yes.
All right. And are you aware that Ms. Letkins then let the prosecution's case
I wanna
know
go on with
these are
Emily.
correct, except that they say Oxycontin and they should say oxycodone.
I don't know that she did that, but
Cracks me
I'm
up.
sure she did. I don't.
Okay. And
Right.
so
Met
I'm
with
the
her-
one that typed Oxycontin, correct?
Oh, you're the one who typed it, right? You guys met in the jail, and then you got appointed a lawyer, and then you all chatted, and then you typed it up.
When you met with Mr. Bloodworth and his investigator in April of 2025, where you were sober,
Yes,
and you said you were only selling oxycodone in early 2022.
that's correct.
You sober today?
I am.
In fact, congratulations, you just finished your treatment program, right?
Thank
Well,
you.
congratulations on your
What
sobriety.
was your sober date?
Good job.
August 26th,
Good
Of
job, buddy.
25.
25. Congratulations.
We hope,
Robert, I want you to look at the jury.
sir, congratulations on your sobriety. I hope that that continues to go well for you. Everyone has a chance at sobriety. However, What the fuck is happening next? What the fuck is happening next? What is happening next?
Yeah, yeah.
Robert, I want you to look at the jury.
Uh-oh.
I
What
want you
is
to tell
this?
them. Are you telling the truth here today?
Yes, I am telling the truth.
Ew.
Okay, I have nothing further.
How were
Weird,
the pills that you
awkward.
sold to Carmen Lawler packaged?
They were in a bag.
This is
There's a
the
little tiny
recross,
clear
or
Ziploc
I mean,
bag.
I'm sorry, redirect.
I don't remember, but a Ziploc bag or something. Yeah, they were in a bag of some kind. Yes.
Like one of those little bags you get with a spare button on a shirt?
Well, I don't think you can't fit 20 or 30 pills in a little bag like that, so they were probably a little bigger than that.
He looks
Yes.
so like, stop asking me about drugs.
And you got that bag from your plug, right?
Okay.
Yeah, from one
I
of
think we've seen enough.
One of the guys that sold you the pills.
Correct.
You did not get that bag from a pharmacy, correct?
Sorry that I was sitting there watching the video and being all into it myself and not including you guys. My bad. All right. So before I get into a little bit more noting on this subject, I have had a couple of people give me a couple of lines that they would like me to say in Higgins' voice. One of them, I'm going to choose a couple of them. How about that? Amanda, because I love you, asked me to say, Karen, Karen, wherefore art thou, Karen? And then, wait, where'd the other one go? Oh my God, TC nerd. Am I a good kisser, Karen? You're wicked hot. And then one more. Where did it go? Skate stays. Are you serious? Or are you messing with me, Karen? Not like a friend. Okay, Skate Stays has got some good ones. Not like a friend. We were kissing. Not like a friend. This is the drug dealer. Jennifer says, who is this again? This is Robert Cozier. He's the actual drug dealer. So he's the guy who got fentanyl, oxycodone, OxyContin, not really sure. Let me give you guys some more notes on that. And then I think we are going to get close to wrapping it up here. But what is happening? Please explain. This is real. We call them baggies when I use drugs. Used drugs, sorry. Yeah, it was cringy. Faux show. What is happening, Dakota girl? Please explain. Is this real? It's totally real. This is so cringy, the higgy of it all. Mm-hmm. Lip to lip. LOL. Okay. Let me give you guys some of my notes here. So, Robert Cozier, who is the alleged supplier of either fentanyl, oxycodone, or OxyContin, not really sure after all that, in a major, major blow, I would say, in my opinion, to the prosecution on day 5 of this trial. Crozier recanted his earlier statements. He testified that he never sold fentanyl to Lauber or Carmen, only blues or M30s, which he understood at the time to be oxycodone. He also contradicted Carmen's account of their meetings, claiming they met only once or twice rather than the 3 times she has testified to. Now, she testified that she met with Robert 3 times and Susan once, so 4 times altogether, if I understand it. It was so confusing. I'm not sure that's even true. Tell me what you think about that. And then there was one other person. This was where it got real spicy. Let me see if I can pull this up again. Hold on a second. This one got spicy as fuck. Let me see. Cross. Anna Isbell. Her look on this woman's face. I fucking love it. Let's see. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do it with this one. But I can pull up, there's chapters here, so hold on a second. Hold on. Okay, yeah, here we go. This one has chapters. Okay. This one is spicy. This is what we're gonna end on today. This is our last witness of the day. Girlfriend. Anna Isbell. Isbell, not Isabel. Anna Isbell. Get it right. Look at her face. Look at her. Oh, you can't see it. Hold on. It's not up on your screen, is it? Anna Isbell. This, look at her face. She's like, bring it. Let's do this. I fucking love her face, you guys. Look at, I can't. I want to keep this. This needs to be my new screensaver or something. I fucking love it. Okay, here we go.
What is your name?
Anna Isbell.
Can you spell your last name?
Anna
Isbell.
Isbell.
Yes.
Do you know who Kouri Richins is?
Yes.
How?
You knew her from high
Ms.
school?
Bell, I apologize for interrupting. Turn the mic for you. You can sit wherever you're comfortable. It's easier to move the mic.
So this is Robbie's girlfriend.
You know her from high
Robbie the
school?
drug dealer.
Just living in the same area?
Do you know who Hayden Jeffs was?
Yes.
Who was he in relation to you?
My significant other for 13 years.
Oof, 13.
And he passed, didn't he? And it was a motorcycle accident?
Wait, no,
I
I
can see you're
thought this was
nodding.
Robbie's.
Yes, yes, sorry.
Maybe I'm completely
Try
wrong.
not to say yes because it'll start making me cry. But yes, he did.
Appreciate that. I'm sorry.
Hold on, hold on. Oh no, sorry. This was the handyman's
Do you
partner,
know
not Robbie's partner.
Whether Hayden Jeffs knew Kouri Richins?
Yes.
Did they know each other?
Yes.
How did they know each other?
He did handyman work for her.
Were you with Hayden Jeffs on January the 22nd, 2022, when he received a call from Kouri Richins?
Yes.
Did you overhear that call on speakerphone?
Yes.
What on that phone call, if anything, did you hear Kouri Richins ask Hayden Jeffs?
For something for a client. I don't remember what it started with, the TRP. We didn't know what it was. I went to the bathroom, and when I came back, I don't know who brought it up or how it got around to that. Hayden was just saying, fuck that client. Fentanyl? What? Fuck that. Fuck that.
Hayden's statements, Mr. Bloodworth.
No.
Would you pause for 1 second? This is my apologies.
Effect on Kouri Richins?
Yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jeff's side of this conversation, as related by Ms. Isbell, that's an out-of-court statement that you cannot consider for its truth. The only reason you can consider it is for context for whatever Ms. Richins may have said in response after hearing it. Please proceed.
Thank you.
And also her boyfriend, her ex-boyfriend.
I interrupted you. You just want to say anything else?
has passed away. Hearsay
After
exceptions and all
Mr.
that.
Jeff said that, how did Ms. Richins respond?
She said, okay, thank you. Okay.
Was there a second call then?
No.
Yes.
Did you hear any other
Berkshire,
discussions
BS, Litchfield,
between
Cunty Liars.
Ms. Richins and Mr. Jeffs?
No.
Yeah, I know.
Nobody-
Sorry. I said Robbie's girlfriend. I meant the handyman's girlfriend. Didn't mean Robbie.
Afternoon. I don't know about good, but afternoon.
Afternoon. I'm Wendy Lewis. We met, right?
Yes.
Okay. I just want to say, I start by saying I'm very sorry for your loss, Peyton. I know that's been very difficult for you.
Oh,
Now, you,
Get him, Anna.
of course, have been called as a witness for the state, right?
Mhm.
And was there a time, a couple
Oh,
of
yes.
And did they reach out to you a couple of months ago to try and get you to come in and meet with them?
Yeah, I've tried multiple times.
Multiple times. All right. I'm going to show you just for what's been marked as Defense Exhibit 1002.
our woman. Go get him, Anna.
You should go see her.
Now, did you recognize those text messages?
Yes.
Were those text messages from your phone?
Yes.
And they were between you and Detective O'Driscoll, is that right?
Yes.
So your texts are in blue, is that correct?
Yes.
And his are in black?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'd ask that we publish that 1002 be admitted and published.
No objection.
Of course. Thank you. Get a glass of water. Okay.
Katie, can you? Or Your Honor,
Fine.
whoever's controlling this, please.
No problem. So that's
Let's get through this.
but is that the
Get back to her testimony. All right, here we go.
will you go to page 2 for me? Oh, wait a minute. Back to page 1.
She's pissed. She's like, get me the fuck out of here.
For a moment, my apologies.
That's what we took out, correct?
Oh, you guys, get it
Yes,
together.
if you would lay some foundation.
Get it
Is that
together.
Yes.
And then you respond,
Okay, here we go.
is that correct?
Lay some foundation, Ms. Lewis.
Need some
Do you
foundation.
recognize this as text from your phone?
Yes.
And they are text between yourself and Detective O'Driscoll, is that correct?
Listen to this, y'all.
Yes.
And his original text at the top was sent in December December 30th, correct?
Yes.
And then you responded sometime later, which was sometime in January, correct?
Yes.
And you recognize all these text messages?
Yes.
And are they accurate as far as you recall?
Can we show our pages too, please?
Yes. The first one, it's two different. That's why it looks weird. But yes, they're all. Yes.
Okay. We now move to admit defense exhibit.
I'm sorry. No, just foundation. There's two different phone numbers that appear.
The 14353213618, that's Detective O'Driscoll.
I don't know his phone number off the top of my head, but
you recognize the text as being from him?
I don't know his digit.
I think that the first one is Travis. Because I believe the first one is Travis. Don't know his number off the top of my head.
All right, let me see where there's.
I didn't say five of their other numbers.
Can we move to the next page, Katie?
God, this is so tedious, you guys. Get it together.
It's the same phone number, correct?
It is not.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He was handling himself through this.
Okay.
Same thing.
The one is because I sent it to Travis to show him how Detective O'Driscoll was handling himself through this.
Oh, I
This way,
understand.
yeah.
All right. So the first text is from Detective O'Driscoll.
What is pulled up right now? That one is.
And then that's when you sent the text.
That one's Travis. I had
to Travis.
screenshotted it to show him.
This is confusing for the jury, and I think for some of us watching, but
All right. So let's go to the text, the second page from Detective O'Driscoll. Take out the first page, Katie. Starting right there. So if we could introduce, is that 3 pages now? Or 2? 2. All right. If we could introduce the 2 pages of text between Ms. Isbell and Detective O'Driscoll.
Would you mind confirming with this witness what these 2 pages are?
And these 2 pages are text between you and Detective O'Driscoll, correct?
Oh my God,
Yes.
we know
And
what
they're-
this is.
The black
Let's do
bubbles are
it.
from him, the blue are from you, correct?
Yes.
And that's an accurate representation of the text conversation you had with him at that time, correct?
Yes.
I think this is still Defense Exhibit 1007, if we could introduce, or at least mark it as 1007, this particular version.
Same it. Well, I don't know what it is. How are we marking it? So, Mr. Bloodworth, Defense Exhibit 1002A,
confusing
a
for the
text
jury.
message streamed between Ms. Isbell and
We're going to need that.
They're going to talk about it
and
some
then
more.
on both pages, please, Katie.
Talk about it
Publish.
some more.
Ms. Lewis, take it from there.
Or calls.
Okay, here are the text messages. Fucking fine.
said-
Jesus Christ.
This was a text between you and Detective O'Driscoll. Yes. He sent you a text that
You
said,
guys see this at all?
so you can make our life easier and answer our calls, we can prep you on what you're going to be asked. Next time I knock on your door, I'll have a warrant and a catch pole for your dog, correct?
Yes.
Now,
Fuck
he was
off.
talking about that they reached out and asked you to come in to be prepped for your testimony.
Literally. Okay. I'm so mad about this. Investigator in this case contacts this woman because she confirmed hearing a request for the Michael Jackson drug from Kouri Richins. And she's impeached the prosecution's poison theory, by the way, by testifying that she believed Kouri was actually asking for a muscle relaxer. Furthermore, she described feeling intimidated and being livid by the detectives who threatened her in text messages. How fucking dumb can you be? That said, I'm going to quote it here. Quote, this was Jeff O'Driscoll, one of the lead detectives. Quote, make your life easier and answer our calls so we can prep you on what you will be asked. Otherwise, the next time I knock on your door, I'll have a warrant and a catch pole for your dog. End quote. Fuck that guy. Are you fucking kidding me? So the cops can't be in trouble for intimidating a witness. He's going to come. Do you know what a catch pole is? Obvious. I know it. Oh, I'm so angry right now. I got to bring it back in. Bring it back in. When a catch pole is that device that dog catchers use that is a big long pole with a loop on the end of it that gets real tight on your dog's neck when they yank it around your dog's neck. And it's how they get the dogs. It's how they control the dogs and put them in a truck. This investigator, this detective is literally threatening this woman. Like, give us a call back so you can get your story straight, or the next time I'm showing up with a warrant and I'm going to take your fucking dog from you. Fuck that guy. That's my opinion. That is my opinion.
Overall.
Okay.
Your Honor, she misread the text. I know it's up there and the jury can read it for themselves.
If they can. It's small. Yeah, can we zoom in, Katie? Pause for 1 second. Can you folks read that?
Am I this right? Because some of it's covered in.
Yeah, I mean, the redaction might have been part of the problem, but
Can we maybe go to...
I think because we blocked out the number, I can't see
Okay.
the first line.
All right. We'll just let the jury read it for a moment.
Your Honor, Ms. Lewis could also turn her mic back on.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you, Brian. All right,
These
let's try
guys
again.
need to get their shit together.
This is blocked out a little bit, but you'll be able to see it later, hopefully. So until you are needed to testify. So make your life easier and answer our calls so we can prep you on what you will be asked. Otherwise, the next time I knock on your door, I'll have a warrant and a catch pole for the dog. That's what you said, correct? Yes. I don't need to be prepped. Give me the time and date and I will appear. He says it's on your subpoena. You ask, is there more an exact date or a date? Do I need to be there February 23rd through March 26th? His response, we could have discussed that if you ever replied, but since you don't want to, you can plan on showing up every day at 8 o'clock. Next page. Your response, I don't need to be prepped. Give me the time and date and I will appear. Oh, so this is the same. It's repeated. It's on your subpoena, February 23rd.
Okay.
Plan on being there
I think
every
we've heard
day.
enough.
And then you say, I would like.
So, makes me so angry. So, yeah. They're trying to they're basically the detectives are trying to pressure this woman into a pretrial meeting. Make your life easier, answer our calls so we can prep you on what you will be asked. Otherwise, the next time I knock on your door, I'll have a warrant and a catch pole for the dog. So far, what I'm seeing, Kouri Richins could be absolutely guilty, but what I'm seeing is a bunch of detectives and investigators, very much like Michael Proctor and Tully and Fanning and Guarino and all those people from the Karen Reed trial, pressuring people, trying to change a narrative, pushing people into being like, this woman's guilty. And if you don't tell us that you think she's guilty, you don't tell us what you heard or get your story right, we're going to come and we're going to take your dog, or we're going to throw your ass in jail for the rest of your lives because you got some small-time drug charges on you. Ugh. Fuck off. Okay. The defense also used the prosecution's own expert toxicologist, Brianna Peterson, to support their self-administration theory, meaning they think that Eric accidentally overdosed and took the drugs himself. They noted that fentanyl had reached Eric's blood while, I have to say this word again, and it's a drug, and quetiapine found in his system remained in his stomach, suggesting he had been taking various pills sequentially over time rather than receiving a single lethal dose in a drink. There is that. All right. Pivotal moments from episode 1, week 1 of Kouri Richins. We got the opening statement visuals. So those were the I'm rich memes. We got the Michael Jackson colloquialism. So Michael Jackson could be construed that Michael Jackson died because of the overdose, and that's what she was looking for. There are some investigative holes. The defense focused on the untested hydrocodone bottle and the unphotographed kitchen and the untested Moscow mules and the gummies all over the place that they didn't get right off the bat because they're saying they were planted later, but the cops didn't totally photograph the whole house, so who knows. We had Robert Kozier's recantation. He contradicted Carmen Lauber regarding the nature of the drugs, which was oxycodone versus fentanyl. It introduced sort of significant reasonable doubt, in my opinion. And then we had there was one thing I didn't even talk about. It was a big moment. So I got to find this video. Hold on a second. Yes, this one. I'm going to play this video without context or comment, and we will come back and talk about it on the other side. This one. All right, y'all. Let me get it on the screen. Okay. This was such an interesting moment. Tell me what you think.
I'd like to make a record regarding the note from the jury, the action we took. Any objection?
No objection. The note regarding the jury,
Oh, I understand. Thank you.
not from the jury.
I got it.
I think this was written by a juror.
Oh, I did understand.
Yeah, this was passed out from a juror. So during an afternoon recess, a juror passed a note to one of the bailiffs that read, quote, Judge, I'm having a little trouble with the handwriting, so bear with me here.
Oh my God, he's so cute. Shut up.
Are there members of the audience in the courtroom that are sketching members of the jury? Question mark. Is that allowed without consent?
Oof.
Question mark. It is distracting and a concern. Please advise. In response to this note, court staff confirmed that there was a member of the spectators that was in fact sketching jurors and identifying the sketches by juror number. That sketchbook was confiscated. The sketches of the jurors were removed from the sketchbook. That person has been removed as a spectator, will not be allowed back in.
Get him, Judge Daddy.
We cannot have anyone doing anything to identify the jurors in any way. And then the jurors were informed by a bailiff, not by me, that we responded in that way, so they do not have to speculate about whether that's continuing. I'd like to make...
Damn, boy. Judge Daddy, put the hammer down. I love that. So yeah, there was a person in the courtroom. I don't know what side, if they were on anyone's side or if they were just sketching to like sell. I'm not really sure, but they were removed from the gallery for drawing jurors and identifying them by juror number. So Judge Daddy put the hammer down, and I love that about him. I love it. Rebecca's gonna love this guy. She hasn't seen this guy yet, I don't think. She is gonna love him, I think. All right. Let me go through some comments here. And then we are gonna wrap it up because holy shit, it's almost been 3 hours. She also, hold on. Let me get rid of this off my screen. Stop sharing. C also told you that's when I said I'm done. Young to threaten a compliant witness. Yep. I think so. I think we agree. Romedo says, am I saying your name right, Romedo? God, your dog's cute. Dakota girl, I believe that she probably did it, but can the prosecutor prove it? I do not know. I am there with you. I want to see their earlier text. Agreed, despite the look on my face. You have the kind of screen name where it's like that old joke, like agreed. And then you say, oh, Lindsay knows it. Agreed. And then I found $5 or agreed is my favorite sexual position. Something like that. You know what I mean? She's cute, that witness. I agree. I loved her attitude. She was like, don't fuck with me. Don't fuck with my dog, motherfuckers. Love it. Yes, MSP vibes. Propofol. What about propofol? Propofol. We've been talking about Seroquel. Seroquel is what the drug I can't pronounce is. It's what that is. The dog threat is just so unprofessional at best and terribly unethical. Agreed, Amanda. Berkshire BS Litchfield, cunty liars. Sloppy people having to pressure anyone they have something on to lie in court. Exactly everything you said. I don't know what you're talking about here. Okay. Berkshire BS Litchfield, cunty liars says, how about the Salt Lake City undercover detective they had right on TV with a ZZ Top beard, then suddenly cut the feed? Did you catch that? No. Man, these people. Propofol. Wait, Propofol is a heart medication. You guys, what are we talking about anymore? Miss Kathy from Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo had someone on that was in the courtroom sitting next to the lady sketching the jury. Oh yeah, I need to go look at that. Journeys of Peace. I hope for Mel, judge is a gay man. Why? Red or Rick? I hope for Mel, judge is a gay man. I don't care what he is. I think he's real cute, and I think Rebecca's gonna love him. Romedo says, I wish Judge Daddy was gay. I do not believe that he is. I love his voice too. She was asking for what killed Michael Jackson. Yeah. I mean, Michael Jackson was taking a lot of drugs. Could have been anything. You know what I mean? I 100% agree. Dakota Girl says, I 100% agree on the prosecution doing a really crappy job. Yeah. Hi, Cuff You. I'm so glad you're here. You got 3 hours to catch up on, love. As of right now, Skates Days says, I think she's guilty based on circumstantial evidence, but wouldn't vote on that yet. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of circumstantial evidence in this case, but I am not convinced yet. And I will say this again. I said this at the top. Even if she is guilty, I want her to get a fair trial. And if witnesses are being pressured to testify against her and threatened with their dog's safety and threatened with, people in jail time and that is not okay. That's not fucking okay. Oh yeah. So you guys are saying that Cuff You said that was really bad when they exposed that guy that was undercover. Not cool. I gotta find that. Can someone send me a link? I don't know what you guys are talking about. That sounds awful, and it sounds like Keystone Cops all over again. I know that it killed Michael Jackson. But when she said the Michael Jackson drugs or whatever she said, it could have been anything. It could have been anything that, you know. I mean, I don't think Kouri Richins is dumb enough to be like, "Give me the drug that killed Michael Jackson," if that's the inference. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. He was on the 4th day, and they all of a sudden realized, "Oh, crap, he's undercover. Oh my god, this is the witness? Holy shit." Oh, I know what you're talking about now. Yeah. Propofol. Okay. Guys, I gotta cut this because as you've been hearing for the past hour and a half, my stomach has been growling because I haven't really eaten much today, and I gotta go to make some dinner. And I gotta feed this dog, and this dog probably needs to pee. And I love you all for being here. This was a fun little Sunday get together. As of tomorrow, I'm covering this case in real time, so I'm gonna be doing updates in the evenings, live, so you guys can come and hang out. Sometimes Rebecca will be joining me, sometimes she won't. I'm really sad you guys don't like my new background. I'm gonna hang some things on it and make it fun. I just threw it together over the weekend, so it is what it is. I love you for being here. Thank you for the memberships. Thank you for the super chats. I am getting a second monitor. It's happening. I promise you. Because the next time I won't be just staring at a video for like a minute laughing and having comments, and you guys will be just staring at me doing that and not watching the video. But I'm here on my own. I don't have Rebecca to tell me when something's going wrong. I have you guys. So I will definitely put up a picture of Ruby on the background. Maybe I'll do some like framed things. We'll see. I really like Ellen Marie Marsh's background. It's really busy. So we'll see. But this is portable. I have to move it around because I'm in my bedroom. So I have to be careful with it has to be flat, the things that I put up on there. Oh, thanks for becoming a new member. Pimabo. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but you have a real cute dog. Is that a Vizsla? Is your dog a Vizsla? Oh, I'm so glad that you were here, Skates Days. I know Sundays are boring sometimes. I know, Jonah. I'm gonna keep it. I'm not gonna get rid of it because I put a lot of work into it, and I really need the extra sound buffer. But I am gonna put some things on it every night. Cynthia, I will be here every night of the trial. We have 4 more weeks to go, so I'm gonna be on every night unless something crazy happens, and then I can't come on. But thank you for spending your time with me, Gabby. I'm so appreciative that you all were here and that you were engaged and you made me laugh. And I think you're all wicked hot. I think you're all wicked hot. So keep it up. All right. I will see you all tomorrow, twice tomorrow, because I'm recording with Rebecca or maybe we're only doing it once. I'll figure it out. You will know beforehand. It's not a shower stall Berkshire BS Litchfield Cunty Liars. Okay. Love you all. Bye.